This is Kyle Juszczyk, and you're listening to Nothing But Niners.
This is Charles Haley. You're listening to Nothing But Niners.
So now they've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hurst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, hits to his right, gets to the 20. He's in the 30. Needs to cut in. He comes back up the right sideline. Quick to North Taylor. Coming out of the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, that's back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He died. Touchdown, 49ers.
Third down, Alex takes the snap. Alex looking, got it, post, and it's got it! Touchdown! Touchdown, 49ers!
It is second down. Ryan takes the snap, throws the slant to the left side. It's Russell intercepted. The 49ers pick it, and Navarro Bowman is redemption. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown. No greater redemption.
The San Francisco 49ers. We can do whatever we want.
Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? It's your boy Mike from the Nothing But Niners crew. And guys, it is time to officially overreact. The 49ers fall to the Eagles a lot to a little. But guys, don't hang your heads. I'm going to get to all of the reasons why you shouldn't be hanging your head today in this overreaction show. No victory shots on deck, even though I got a little brewski over here. All right. No victory cigars on deck, but I already started one during the game. I'm going to finish that one. But guys, let me go through my formalities, and then we'll get down to the meat and potatoes of today's episode. All right. If it's your first time here on the YouTube page, you stumbled across it, you enjoy the show, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up, hit that like button, subscribe, and then turn on your notifications so you know exactly when we are going live. Give us a follow on some of our social media pages. We have Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter. Those handles are Nothing But 9 ERS. That is the number 9, Nothing But 9 ERS. We have Facebook, and we have Twitch. Those handles are Nothing But Niners, spelled all the way out. Guys, we got a Patreon, man. Patreon is the place to be. Never miss a show over on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/NB9ERS. And then if you are on YouTube, guys, click the store tab on our page. We got a couple of new items over there. See what we got. Head on over there. See if you like something. Order something for you or somebody you know. All right. That's going to be it. If you have questions, comments, concerns, suggestions about the show, people you want us to work with, maybe some suggestions for apparel. All right. Send us an email, nb9ers@nothingbutniners.com. I'm your guy, Mike Andrews, 83 on Twitter. And guys, it is time to talk 49ers. Now, the Niners fall. The Eagles put up, how many points did the Eagles have? 31? 31-7. The 49ers literally could not throw the ball after the opening drive. They literally couldn't throw the ball after the opening drive, okay? So what did we expect to happen in this game, all right? Our expectations all went out the window with the injury of our young rookie quarterback, Brock Purdy. But here we are now facing one of the hottest, let's call them that, one of the hottest offenses in the NFL, and you don't have an offense of your own. What can you do? What can you do? I see a lot of people out there blaming the officials. The officials fucked up today a lot. They did. I see a lot of people out there mad at Brock Purdy. I don't quite get that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I see a lot of people mad at Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. I don't get that at all. But we'll discuss it. Before we do, though, I want to hear from Kyle Shanahan himself. My man is at the presser. He's at the podium right now. We're going to hear what Kyle Shanahan has to say, and then I'll jump back in here in a few minutes. I'm going to listen along with you guys, all right? Kyle, what the hell happened today?
Show that either. I'm not sure. They just tell me that he's out and goes to the tent. I don't know who did it, but he had one.
Sorry, when Purdy gets hurt, you start thinking at that point, what happens if the backup gets hurt as well? What do we fall back on?
Yeah, we have that. and we have an emergency package, but usually hoping you can end a game with it and stuff. So we put our quarterback in there just so we could at least run a normal run game.
Like McCaffrey might have been talking to some coaches that it might have been him, or was that under discussion?
Yeah, we had all that stuff, but we didn't stay out there long enough to see it.
After all this team's gone through, Brock being your third quarterback, were you guys numb? What was the feeling after Brock got injured too?
I don't think we were numb. I mean, guys were up for the challenge. I thought our defense was playing real well. We felt Josh was going to go in there and execute our plan and give us a chance. That we got, I think it was 7-7. They went down. They got a number of those. They had that one long drive with all those penalties. And then they got the 14-7, and we ended up having that fumble, which was 21-7. We felt confident coming out in the third quarter, but on that opening drive, we lost our last quarterback. And then after that, it was when we were inspired watching our defense and stuff, and we felt the whole time down 2 scores, we felt we could run the ball well enough and hopefully generate some stuff and hopefully get a turnover on the other side or something like that to give us a chance to come back. But we didn't move the chains enough. And then once they got that third score, I believe, after the roughing the punter, then it was real tough to catch up.
I know it just happened, but you guys went 12 straight to get here. I know you felt great about this, and to have the season end with 2 quarterbacks, or after hitting 2 quarterbacks or before that. What's the emotion when that all sinks in?
Guys are pretty down in there. We were really excited for today, and we really wanted an opportunity to play that team. And they played great. They did good things, but we wish we had a little bit better opportunity than we did today.
On the first drive, the replays pretty clearly showed that Devontae Smith did not catch that ball. Why was it a challenge?
Because the replay we saw didn't definitely show that. We saw one up on the scoreboard. I was going to throw one anyways, just to hope to take the chances, but they showed one up on the scoreboard that didn't have all the angles you guys saw, and that looked like a catch. And so we don't want to waste a timeout, which we definitely would have if we didn't see that. But then I heard they got a couple other angles, and you guys end up seeing later that it was not a catch. Guys, there's not much to say right now. It was kind of tough to talk in there right after the game for everybody. I got more love for these guys than I possibly could have, and they got it for each other. I was real proud of how they fought out there. Our guys didn't shy away from anything. Thought they got dealt a pretty tough card today, or a tough hand. But I just hurt for those guys. We really wanted to. We felt really good about this game, and it was a tough one, some tough circumstances, and we should have done a few things better, but I'm really proud of the group in there, and excited to look forward to talking to some of them on the plane.
What happened on the play during which Brock Purdy hit his elbow from your vantage?
Someone hit him in his elbow, the backside DN, number 7.
What do you think on that play? Brock was blocking Reddick one-on-one. Was that supposed to be a quicker developing play?
No, just play action. It's usually who blocks the outside guys on play action or tight ends.
Is it your understanding you're supposed to be an independent person on that fourth down play on the first drive, that it's not all in your hands, that there's somebody who recognizes that and shows other angles before the next play gets run?
Yeah, we all do it. We all look at stuff. It's really easy to see when you get to see it that it's incomplete, but that other person, myself, everyone in the stadium looking at the screen and all the angles that we had in the timing of it was snapped, which I don't know what you guys had, but we couldn't see that. So
I guess my point is, should that other angle have been shown earlier at some point that everybody can see it? Is that kind of the protocol?
I wish, but there's people. I think the NFL can do that if they see it. They're supposed to do it, but we didn't see it. So there's a play clock. You got 40 seconds. They're going to get it off, and they got it off. I was going to throw it anyways, just hoping, but it looked like he caught it. And then they show a replay up there, which I was shocked they showed it. But it ended up looking like a catch on the replay too, because you couldn't see the other angles. So that's why we didn't. And then I was told at the end of the drive, they saw a couple of other angles, and I was told it was incomplete.
What do you think about Josh and the way the offense ran before he got hurt? Obviously, a tough situation for him, given how long.
He didn't get to do much. He came in and threw that slant to Debo, and they were going to get in 2 minutes, and we were just going to go to another screen, and they ended up mishandling the snap, which was obviously not a good play because they ended up getting it, and they got 7 more from it. And then he got hurt on the first series the next time, so Josh didn't get to do much either.
How much like Brock, you try to lobby to get back in the game,
He didn't lobby much because he went and kept throwing and realized he couldn't. And so there was no really discussion after that. He couldn't throw. And then when he came in, we had to decide what he could throw. And there weren't too many options at that.
Why was your defense so off kilter, Kyle, from the jump?
I didn't think they were off kilter from the jump. I think they're going against a pretty good team. I know they gave up 7 on the first drive, but I felt like they shut them down for like the next 3 series. We felt like we had momentum, had some good stuff going. I think the penalties really got to our defense. I think a number of them were self-inflicted that we got to do better on. A few of them, I'll see how it is when I saw the tape, but that's what got them going. And you're going against one of the best offenses in the league and can't make those mistakes. But, our defense held them to 14 there in the first half with the 2 turnovers in offense. And so the second turnover got them 7. And then they were out there pretty much alone in the second half. They had a team that our offense was just able to run the ball, and we weren't able to get some big ones. So they had a pretty uphill battle versus a good team, and I was real proud of those guys.
In retrospect, do you feel it was ambitious to ask Tyler Croft to block Hassan Reddick, or is that a block you expected to execute?
It's a tough block, but all play actions are tight ends versus edge rushers. They had us on a number of those today too. You hope you can step up on it, which you usually do in a pocket. It was going. BA had beat him. It was going to be a big play. But I didn't see what else the pocket was like.
You got the edge on that punt. When Allie called for repping the punter, did it seem clearly to you that he got blocked into him?
That's what I thought. But, I'm not standing right in front of it like he is, so he should have a better view. But that's what we all thought.
There were some skirmishes there throughout the game. Was it just a trend, obviously throwing a guy down? Did you see that? And just maybe the natural frustration coming out there?
Yeah, I didn't see what happened on the skirmish. I'm just getting ready for the next play, so I didn't see exactly what happened. But you got 2 physical teams, guys playing hard. I know we were there frustrated at the end. Guys wanted to fight, wanted to play, and it was a frustrating game for us.
I'll take 3 more.
Had postseason losses with this team in the past where you had leads and lost at the end. Is this more painful, or do they all just feel awful?
Losing feels awful. This one was harder. This one was a lot harder, I thought.
Did Nick Bosa get hurt at any point during the game?
I saw him on the ground. It looked like it, but they didn't report anything to me, so I'm sure he bounced up and was all right after that.
You were pretty clear, during the 2019 season, that you felt you had as good a team as any. Did you have as good a team as any, given the quarterback situation? Put that aside, is this team as good as any team in the NFL right now?
Yeah, I believe so. There's 4 good teams left, and all 4 of those teams are capable of beating anyone on any day. I said that year because I just thought we were from the beginning to end. That's similar how Philly's been this year. I thought we had a chance to knock them off today and came up short.
Last one, guys.
Yeah, always. But that has to do with how hard we work and the team we build and staying healthy and going back to square one and fighting through the offseason, fighting through a whole regular season and get into this moment again and hope we get a little bit better draw and hope we play a little bit better.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right.
All right. Guys, I'm seeing some really, really disgusting comments in this chat, man. Y'all, listen. I understand the 49ers lost. I understand y'all are emotional. But some of y'all people, y'all just straight up full of shit. I'm sorry. I love y'all, but y'all still full of shit. I'll tell my family members they full of shit when they full of shit too. All right? That's what I'm doing right now. Listen, man, y'all are really, really, really bugging. Number one, you cannot blame Kyle Shanahan for this loss. You cannot blame John Lynch for this loss. What am I reading in this chat? Are y'all serious right now? I'm seeing people say Kyle Shanahan choked again. He didn't have a fucking quarterback for the whole damn game. You literally can't throw the ball. I don't know if you guys heard or if you guys saw what happened, all right? But after the Brock Purdy elbow injury, he couldn't feel his hand. Then Josh Johnson gets a concussion. I see you, Tony, but let me get this shit off real quick. I see you, bro. I got you. So he can't feel his hand. He can't grip the fucking ball. So then Josh Johnson comes in. He completes 7 passes out of 13. 7 out of 13. Okay? Then he gets a concussion. We have no choice but to go back to Brock Purdy or a fucking running back. So you got a guy in there who can't hold the ball, who can't throw the ball. And y'all are talking about Kyle choked. Man, get the fuck out of it. Like, y'all got to be better. I'm going to hold y'all. I am okay with y'all being upset after a loss. I'm okay with y'all being angry after a loss. I'm okay with y'all blaming the refs. I'm okay with y'all saying play. Like, what you can't do is say play calling was bad. He didn't have a fucking choice. He didn't have a choice, bro. What are y'all talking about? Like, Tony, if you don't get in here, man, I'm probably gonna lose every follower I have.
I can't let myself in, Mike.
That I'm reading right now, Tony.
No, listen. If you're blaming Kyle Shanahan, do me a favor, just leave this chat now, because it's unacceptable.
But not only Kyle Shanahan are they blaming. It's not Kyle. It's not even John Lynch. This 49ers team went through 4 fucking quarterbacks this season and made it to the NFC Championship.
No.
What else do you want John Lynch to do?
I'm gonna tell you something right now. Okay, just farting around upstairs with my family there. I just had to come down and throw the garbage out real quick. But I'm gonna give you 2 stats, and I put them in our group chat. Okay, 1 second. Let me just get them up. Here we go. Okay. This is an all-pro, all-American, all-star team with the greatest, highest octane offense. Yeah.
Talk about the Eagles.
Yeah, 269 yards compared to the 49ers, 164 without a quarterback. Okay. That's number 1. Number 2, 11-4 penalties. 7 of the 11 gave Philadelphia Eagles first downs in key crucial field positions and 3rd and long situations. So I don't want to hear shit about Kyle Shanahan sucks or he needs to be fired. If you're seriously saying that, I'm not the owner of Nothing But Niners, but I'm saying it from my aspect. Get the hell out of this chat room, because that's absurd. You have a quarterback who can't can't field the ball. He can't throw the ball. He can't. They ran the ball every play in the second half except for 2, and both passes were for 2 yards. So you tell me the reason why they lost. Okay? It's not Kyle Shanahan. He was 100% handcuffed in the second half. He basically waved the white flag. Philadelphia's defense just was teeing off. They weren't even respecting any of the receivers down the field. They were just blitzing and playing the run because that's all they had to do. And all these Philly fans boasting about Jalen Hurts with 122 yards passing, you got to show me more to get respect from me. Sorry.
Tony, we were going for it on 4th down. We couldn't get the run game. Everybody knew just play the line of scrimmage and this game is over. From the opening drive, from the moment Brock Purdy got hurt, I want to remind you guys that we saw Josh Johnson one other time this whole season. And he ended up handing the ball off like 12 times. They didn't even attempt to pass with him. That lets you know what Kyle Shanahan and this team thought of their backup quarterback behind Brock Purdy. What were y'all expecting?
I'm reading this chat and people are seriously saying it's Kyle's fault. I can't believe this.
I know. That's what I'm saying. They're going crazy in here, bro. They're going crazy.
Wait a second. We won how many games in a row?
12. 12 games in a row, bro.
We won 12 games.
Backup quarterback.
12
with
games
a
in a row.
Third string quarterback, by the way.
Okay, 12 games in a row, got all the way to the NFC Championship game. Our quarterback takes a hit and screws his elbow up. Then they put in a guy who was signed off the practice squad, okay, who at one point was so shook he couldn't even get his mouthpiece in his mouth because his hands were shaking. And you expect Kyle to run it all. Now, if you want to blame Kyle for that, maybe they should have done a better job of trying to find someone to back up Purdy. Okay, but in that situation, it was plug and play, and they needed to get somebody in here who knew the basics of this system. And he was here under Shanahan, so that was the smart, safe bet to do, rather than just going, everyone, what happens if they would have talked? What happens if they would have signed Cam Newton? You think that would have made a difference today? Come on. Come on. Be better than that. Come on. Listen, the game's over. We lost. We took it on the chin. It is what it is. We're moving on. We're going to rebuild, retool this roster.
Let me explain something to people out there who are even mad at Brock Purdy. I see people saying Brock Purdy was a bitch because he went out and didn't come back in until after Johnson got hurt. Let me make something very, very clear to you.
He had to.
Brock Purdy never regained feeling in his hand and his throwing hand. All right. So the only reason he came in was to avoid having to put Kyle Juszczyk or Christian McCaffrey under center as a quarterback. That's the only reason he went in. Brock Purdy was not supposed to be back out there on the field. So you guys can't say Brock Purdy choked. And listen, I'm the guy that's been saying Brock Purdy's okay, he's doing okay, but it's still Trey Lance's team. This ain't on Brock Purdy either. And let me get this out the way too. We're 21 minutes in this show. Congratulations to the Eagles. You guys got the win. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks in the Super Bowl. If I'm the Eagles, I am praying that the Chiefs win this game because they don't want what that Bengals team is going to bring to them offensively. I'm just saying that now. I'm not going to take away anything from this Eagles game, from this Eagles team. I'm sorry. They went out there. They played hard. They were aggressive. They won the game. They made the adjustments. Once they realized we couldn't throw the ball, they pinned their ears back like any good defense should do, and they played the run. I'm not going to take that away from them. And we shouldn't be mad at the Eagles or their fans for going out here and celebrating. Because if we went to the Super Bowl, we would be celebrating too, especially if they ended up losing Jalen Hurts in this game. Especially if they lost Jalen Hurts and whoever his backup at Minshew as well, right? We would say, hey, we can't help injuries. We didn't injure anybody on purpose. It's time to go out there and play, all right? And I'm going to get to the Trent Williams slamming people around out there. I felt the frustrations. I was like, yeah, show some fight. But I'm going to tell y'all something also about that play. That showed a lot of emotion. For better or worse, that shows a lot of emotion. Now, Trent was slamming that guy because that guy was in there slamming and pulling on his players. That's why Trent did that. All right? I'm not celebrating the penalty, but I like that he was showing fight and standing up for his teammate. I like that part of it. But when it's all said and done, Trent, you got to be better than that. Now, the game was over and it was out of hand at that point, so you got nothing to lose anyway. We had, one more possession after that happened, so that game was over. Like, that's it. But for people out there on Twitter, for people in this chat saying, that's right, Trent, fuck him up. No, absolutely not. You don't want to see that from your star left tackle. You don't want to see that from any of your players. However, you do want to see those players standing up for their teammates. You do want to see that. There is a fine line between standing up and defending your teammates. Now, who I applaud in that situation was George Kittle, because after Trent slammed that guy and two Eagles guys pushed him, George jumped in there and said, hey, Trent, chill. And Ndamukong Suh, who you all call a hothead, who people were mad at for injuring Josh Johnson, went up to Trent Williams and said, hey, bro, chill.
Wanted no part of Trent.
He was trying to calm Trent down, right? So for y'all saying all this negative shit about the Eagles and all that stuff, even Ndamukong Suh was saying, hey, Trent, chill out, bro. Like this ain't the way you want it to be remembered. Like, you got to chill out. So I even applaud Sue for his actions in that moment. He didn't go in there talking shit, trying to push Trent around or any of that stuff. It was conversation. It was a talk. That was a man-to-man conversation in the heat of battle. It was white versus green. And Sue was the calm head in that scenario. I just want to put that out there. All right. Now, for everybody else that is still in here complaining and all that stuff, like, you guys gotta you actually have to chill out. All right. I'm not gonna sit here and say the game was fixed. It felt like it at times. I'm not gonna say the game was fixed. I know about the tweet that came out that the Bally Sports said that or Vegas said we don't want the Niners in the Super Bowl. I get all that. You think the fix is in and all that, but I still think that if the Niners had Brock Purdy this entire game, it looks completely different. I think it looks completely different. I was never worried about this game until the moment I saw Brock Purdy go down. That's when everything changed. That moment right there was when everything changed. What kind of plays did you guys expect Kyle Shanahan to run? Somebody out there tell me what you expected Kyle Shanahan to do when he lost his quarterback. Somebody out there let me know. Where Perk, where you at? Come on, Perk. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. Hold on. I'm gonna post this link in here. I want to see my man Perk. I want to see my man Perk. Where my other guy at? Hold on. Where'd he go? Who is it? Where'd he go? Damn it! I lost the fucking. Y'all have to chill. I'm okay with y'all being upset. I'm okay with y'all being mad. I'm okay with y'all being hurt. But y'all have to compartmentalize what happened today. Y'all got to understand how and why the Niners lost this game. It wasn't on the back of Kyle Shanahan. His hands were tied. All we could do was try to run the ball. You know what? Come on. I'm gonna invite y'all in. Come on. Let's hear from y'all. Let's see how y'all feel. There's the link. There's the link right there. All right. I'm gonna open this up to y'all. I posted the link in there. Y'all come in. Y'all can sound off. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. I'll hear from y'all. If I gotta boot y'all, I'll boot you. All right. But don't come in here being crazy. It's okay to vent. It's okay to be upset.
How the hell did he make it through there?
Who scored?
Kansas City.
What's
How
it?
the fuck did he make it through there?
Here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna bring y'all in one at a time. I see Z in here. All right, Z. I'm gonna bring you in. I'm gonna bring you in first, bro. Come on, Z. What's up, man? Let them know how you feeling, bro.
Oh man, damn, man. I'm not even mad, man. I'm not mad because we was on our fourth string. I'm not even upset. That's what happens. That's what happens when your quarterback goes down. There's nothing else you can do. There's nothing else we could have done. We played good defense. We contained Hurts, if you really want to get technical. We contained him. He wasn't doing no RPOs or nothing. He wasn't doing no reoption. He had a couple plays when he went out, but we was basically containing him, if you get what I'm saying.
Our hands were tied, man. There was no, hey, Chris Kane, I see you in here, bro. You know you my guy. All right, we live right around the corner from each other. Kane, you my dude. But listen, man, I don't want to hear you saying, "Oh, y'all got owned" and all that stuff. No. This wasn't an owning. All right, if the Niners were allowed to forfeit this game, they would have, but they couldn't because the roster still had enough people to run out there on the field. There was no schooling, y'all. It wasn't us versus y'all. Whatever. Once our quarterbacks went down, Kane, that was game. That was it. So keep that in mind. Like, y'all won today because of the situation. Y'all didn't win today because, yeah. Here you go. Kyle had his hands tied. Exactly. There was nothing else he could do. So I saw the other message earlier in here from you, bro. All right, but I'm just saying, man. Like, we gotta keep in mind what we're talking about. Z,
what's up, man?
Who do you put the loss on?
Well, I can't. I can't put the loss on anybody, man. We just injuries. I can't put the loss on anybody because we just got injured. That's it. Now don't get me wrong. If we would have had Jimmy, if he was a healthy scratch, it could have been a different game. But we was down to the dude off the practice squad. What else do you expect, man?
Philly had 25 first downs. 7 of them came from penalties, y'all. 7 of them came from penalties. One of them was on a play where Mason got blocked into the punter. They literally took a possession from the 49ers and gave them a first down.
There was some plays, there was some flags that should have been thrown, but we're not gonna talk about that.
All right, Z, man. Look, I gotta let you go. I got a lot of people in here. Anything else you want to say before I let you go? I'm gonna get my man Mark Lamar in here next, man. But Z, anything else you want to say before I let you go?
I ain't got nothing else to say, man. We'll see if them Eagles is really that tough when they.
We're gonna find out in 2 weeks, man. 2 weeks. All right, Z, be good out there, man.
All right.
That's my man Z right there, y'all. I'm gonna bring Mark in here next, and then after Mark, I'm gonna bring Kenny in here. Mark,
what up?
Come on, bro. I saw you chomping at the bit in the chat, man.
That's why I'm here, bro.
They're talking crazy about our team, bro.
Talking crazy, bro. And I'm like, I'm already mad. This is the worst officiated game I've ever watched. I don't want to fully blame the officials because we kind of put ourselves in those predicaments, but they involved themselves in the game too much. The pass interference, the dude, they were kind of just going downfield. He didn't stop the guy from turning in. That was a first down. Obviously the incomplete pass that Smith caught, the punt. Dre Greenlaw, you can't punch a ball out. If the ball would have fell on the ground, it would have been a freaking fumble, right? I understand he was doing it out of frustration, but it wasn't illegal. And then the dude threw the flag way after the play was over. Blow the whistle if you don't want the guy to continue. We teach these people to keep playing until the whistle's blown. If you're going to tell me he was trying to punch the ball out after the whistle was blown, then we got a conversation. Like, the game was officiated all crazy, bro. On top of that, our players was making some bonehead. That once you know that and you realize that, you got to be smarter. So, you know what I'm saying? But for all y'all in the chat who claim to be 49er fans, and you watch this coach and this GM on their third string quarterback, and with the fourth string quarterback coming in the game, and you sitting here questioning the coach because he dropped another look. We can talk all the Kyle Shanahans and all these other jokes we got. But when our coach is in the NFC Championship with a third string quarterback and you still talking, bro, find another squad, bro. Bounce, bro. Get up out of here. We don't need you. You're not part of the faithful, bro. Like, that's not it. What'd that say?
It says liability is a factor too. The 49ers are the one team we do not want to win the Super Bowl. That's Vegas. That's Vegas talk. That's Vegas. That's crazy. That's from the bettors. That's from the people that control the money. You know what I'm saying? And listen, Kyle did answer one important question. I played that presser before at the start of the show. They asked why he didn't challenge that call, that Devontae Smith.
Yeah,
catch, right? Because the people in the booth where Kyle is don't have all the replay angles. They only see what we see on TV. They didn't show the other angle until after the Philly had snapped the ball.
Yeah.
So they didn't have it until afterwards. Call it home field advantage, call it whatever you want. No one saw it until afterwards. That's why Kyle didn't throw the flag. What are y'all mad at Kyle for? I don't get it.
I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. And I was frustrated. Just frustrated. I was just frustrated, bro. Like, I wanted to be mad at Kyle, but it's like, well, what else is he supposed to do? I don't know who else on the team can throw the ball. I wanted to see them attempt to throw the ball, but it's like, who else can do it? I didn't know Purdy couldn't feel his fingers or his hands or nothing. So it was just frustrating to watch. I had to, after the green loss, when they flagged him for that, I had to walk away, man. I had to get up and walk away. It was a frustrating, emotional game to watch your team get to this point and have to go out. Like, I'd rather just lose. I'd rather Philly drag us up and down the field and whoop our ass than to watch us just get handcuffed and we can't do nothing. It's kind of like I'd rather just lose.
All right, Mark, I'm gonna let you go, man. Me and Tony gonna respond to what you said. I'm gonna bring in Kenny next. All right, you be safe out there. You know, he said something very interesting there, Tony. He said, I would rather Philly walk us up and down the field than see us get handcuffed like that. But see, we got walked up and down the field while we were handcuffed. I'm okay with this loss more. I'm okay with losing this way more because now I feel like, hey, if we were healthy, we would have won that game. I still got that little asterisk next to this loss.
I understand what he's saying. He's saying, like, you know, all healthy, everything, no issues, and still, like, they stomped us, like, physically. Say hi, mama. Say hi. Hi. Do this over here so you can see. Say hi. Okay. I think he was talking about, like, physically beat us with no injuries, anything like that. Just, and I'm talking about, like, putting 500 yards offense up, stuff like that. That did not happen this game. I was not impressed at all with that offense. All his passes were coming up short, inaccurate. Yeah, he could run around. So what? You're not going to win a Super Bowl running around. So, I mean, my thing is this, and it comes down to the basics. The minute Josh Johnson got concussed, but no flag was called, and they had to put Brock Purdy in, they abandoned the passing game. They just said, you know what? We know he can't throw. We're going to just go. Just shoot upfield, shoot wide, shoot the middle, shoot the other side, and take everything away from him. They knew that. They knew it. They sold out, and they just stopped the run, and that was it. Kyle can't do as good as a coach as Kyle's is with scheming and stuff like that and game planning. Listen, it is what it is. They can't do it. And as far as people pointing the finger at Kyle for the play that Brock Purdy got hurt, do you know how many times they run that play? And it's never an issue. The play is when what they do is they send the tight end across the field in motion to pick up the free rusher. Okay? 9 out of 10 times it works. Today it didn't work. I don't know if there was a poor angle or something like that, but it didn't work today. But you don't need to. 9 other times out of the 10 that it did work, they praise him. The one time it doesn't work, it's an issue. Listen, you got to stick with the guy, whether the good or the bad. And the majority of this season has been good, and I'm not going to oust him for one lousy play. Yeah, the quarterback got hurt. It's football. They could have got hurt on any play, right? Everybody wanted him out when Trey Lance got hurt. Everybody wanted him out when Jimmy got hurt. Oh, but he's the greatest when Brock Purdy came in. I can't believe we're having this freaking conversation right now. I got to be honest with you.
It's emotion. It's emotion. I'm going to bring in Kenny, and I'm going to bring in Chris Kane at the same time. Chris Kane is a good friend of mine. He's an Eagles fan. He's going to stay in the chat as long as he can. After Kenny is done with his comments, I'm going to let Chris respond. If he wants to hang out for a little bit, that's fine. I'm going to bring in Steven after Kenny is done. So I'm going to do a quad box now. All right, we're going to bring in Kenny, Niners fan, and we're going to bring in Chris Kane, Eagles fan, friend of the family. All right, we can disrespect him, but we're going to be respectful at the same time. All right, Kenny, what you got for us, big dog? What's up, man?
First and foremost, what's up, fellas?
What's up,
man,
Kenny?
hey, I'm good, man. I'm proud of this team, no matter what. To win 12 straight games with 3 different quarterbacks, no other team in the league can handle that. So I'm proud of that, first and foremost. And my take on this game, it was too many. I don't blame Kyle for this loss. It was just too many self-inflicting wounds with the penalties. And then we had the 2 turnovers. And we had some crushing penalties, man. And a lot of them joints came on when the defense about to get off the field. So eventually our defense got worn out.
That third quarter drive where they kept getting those penalties to give them that first down. That really killed them.
Even on the first drive, we got a lot of penalties.
They're not a highly penalized team.
Yeah, like you like in games like this, you can't commit penalties of that caliber and expect to win the game.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That are going to change the outcome.
Right. And you know, man, like Philly D-line, man, they got after it, man. Shout out to Philly, man. You know what I'm saying? They played their butts off. They struggled for most of it, but they capitalized on our mistakes. So hats off to them. They played a good game. You know,
see, that's just it for me. I would have loved to see Purdy out there because
me too, man.
I want to play the best. I don't want to beat you with your 4th string quarterback. But those last 2 drives before the half is what killed it, you know? And
especially after you score a touchdown, the way we did take the momentum, and then our momentum get killed off of a fumble that you just dropped. You know, you can't have those type of plays.
Because you saw the only touchdown in the game was scored with Josh Johnson, right? It wasn't with Purdy.
But it was all on the ground.
It was all on the ground.
It was all on the ground,
right.
Yeah.
But what killed it was going down 21-7 at the half and then coming out and kind of having to
I know. But what I'm saying was we drove, and then the next drive y'all scored as well. But it was,
and they know it's strictly you're going to run the ball. It can get dangerous. It can, and
I know, and that's what I'm saying. Y'all capitalized off of our mistakes.
His hands were tied, bro. You couldn't do anything. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to put CMC in there, quarterback, and have him throw the ball? Like,
and see, this is the one thing I'll say. The one thing I'll say on that is this, right? And not to take anything away from the Eagles. I already gave them their props. I'm not taking anything away from the Eagles.
I ain't taking nothing away from the Eagles.
You play any NFL team, and you know that the opposing team is one-dimensional, it's game over. It's game over. You play any NFL team, and they know you can't either run or pass. If they know they only got to play one style of defense for the rest of the game, it's over. That battle is over already. I don't know what people expected Kyle Shanahan to pull out of his ass in this game.
Especially with someone like Josh. How long has that guy been in the league? 10 years? Like
15 seasons, 10
Man,
years.
that dude been in the league for like 15 years.
Right.
And he's never done anything. Like, you can't blame Shanahan for this.
Right.
Like,
He ain't played in no games of any type of significance whatsoever.
Here's where I think the game came down to, and it was depth along the defensive line. Because the comparison was that the San Francisco had a great defensive line, but it was Bosa with 18.5 sacks. The next closest had 5. Whereas on the Eagles, only team in NFL history to have all 4 starters have double-digit sacks. And because of that, it made it a lot harder. Whereas when you play the 49ers, it's neutralized Bosa, and you might have a chance.
Well, in my opinion, for most of the game, the defensive line did hold up. We just committed so many uncharacteristic penalties that kept y'all drives going. And y'all scored on those.
That third quarter drive, up 21-7, when they had that, what was it, the illegal contact and then the face mask. It was like 4 or 5 straight defensive penalties in a row that kept our drives alive because we were at second and third and long situations that could have benefited.
Yeah. And even to just after y'all score, we about to drive down the field. We fumble the ball and y'all score like right after we, you know what I'm saying, turn the ball over. You know? You can't have that. That's not winning football.
I don't think it's right to try to blame a guy like Shanahan for something like this. You know, like
it's not, and I'm not blaming him.
He couldn't do anything, and not to mention you had Elijah Mitchell was out with the groin injury, and I know CMC had a decent game, but you know he was hurting from that calf. Didn't practice on Wednesday, didn't practice on Thursday. Like that hurt them as well, and you know, and at a certain like I get the whole creativity thing, you know, that. Going into the game, that was the thing I was most scared of, was when you have like that Debo in the backfield and CMC in that cross field motion, like that could get scary. But when you take away the possibility of a pass out of that play, it just makes it too easy.
Right.
We went for it on fourth down twice. I think we went for it on fourth down twice, and everybody knew it was going to be a run. Like that nullifies whatever it is that you're going to attempt to do. It just didn't make any sense.
Purdy, though. Like he couldn't even throw the ball to the line of scrimmage on some of those.
Right. The Niners did a phenomenal job. 66% of the time they stopped the Eagles on third down. That is crazy. 66% of the time we stopped them. They were 5 for 15 on third down.
For a team that has a high success rate on third and fourth and short.
Mm-hmm.
And I give them a lot of credit for how they were able to control Jalen Hurts. He only really had that one drive where he was able to get out and create a couple plays. Other than that, I think they did an amazing job staying responsible in their defensive lanes, controlling Hurts. I really do.
No, the Niners did a phenomenal job on Hurts. I mean, when you step back and look at the stats, what do you as an Eagles fan, King, I'm talking to you, right? As an Eagles fan, what exactly are you celebrating, right? Hurts he went out there and he was where'd it go? Damn, I lost my page. Here it is right here. He had 121 yards passing. That's not a big deal, right?
No, it's not.
Their leading rusher had 48 yards. That's not a big deal. When you
they kind of spread that out, and I still haven't found out the information. I want to know what happened to Miles Sanders in the second half. Like I didn't see him at all.
Well, Gainwell was running better. There's no need to put him out there. He had
Sanders had those 2 touchdowns of almost 10 yards each, not even being touched. Like I thought he might get a little bit more work.
Right. I mean, but look, it just depends on what you're looking at, right? Look, Devontae Smith
did an amazing job. It was one of those things where the offense couldn't support the defense. That's all it was, and it's at no fault of realistically anyone on that team.
Yeah, like we pretty much held y'all wide receivers in check.
Quarterback, and then he gets a concussion.
The wide receivers were definitely in check, Kenny. You're 100% right. Their 2 leading receivers didn't combine for 65 total yards. Like, what else could you ask for from a defense? It was the fucking penalties.
It was the penalties.
It was the fucking penalties.
Was killing us.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then, I'm not going to blame the refs or anything. Some of that shit was on us. Some of that shit was definitely on us. Yeah, go ahead.
It didn't. I once I saw what happened, I thought it would play out a lot differently. But the one thing that surprised me was I really can't understand this deferring till the second half thing. This whole analytic thing with the double scoring and stuff like that. I think it was a big mistake giving the Eagles the ball at home with a team that statistically scores the most on their opening drive and giving the fans that energy behind them. Now,
I would like to second that.
But I thought as the Niners, as the team, it would have been a smarter idea to take that ball and kind of give a long sustained drive and slow it down a little bit and kind of try to take the fans out of it.
Tony, explain to him why the Niners do that. Explain to him.
No, I disagree with you with that because that's his philosophy. He tries to get the back-to-back score from try to get the last possession going into the half and get the ball again as like almost like the kill shot. He's been doing that. He's done it the whole time on his streak, their 10-game win streak, except for one game, which was Dallas. They kicked all no.
But I think that's the thing where the analytics are killing the game because the Giants did the same thing last week, and look at what happened. Okay, you get your back-to-back, but you're down 28-0 by halftime.
I don't think it's analytics. I think that's just that's what he wants to do. That's how he calls his offense and operates his game. That's just something he likes to do. I'll be honest with you, I like it because if 9 out of 10 times when it works for them, it's not an issue. But obviously, when you have a quarterback who can't feel his arm, you can't run your offense, and it's 10 times easier.
Injuries aside, I understand that. But this is just my mentality. Is if I was San Francisco, knowing that the Eagles score a lot on their first drive and that crowd is already pretty raucous, I would almost feel a little bit safer taking the risk and taking that ball and then trying to sustain maybe, a 6-7 minute drive, take that time off the clock and try to eliminate the fans and everything from the game as much as I could.
Let me explain it this way. We're working with a rookie quarterback in the biggest game of his career. Odds are that opening drive isn't going to be successful. If you go back and you watch that Dallas opening drive, he's throwing far, he's throwing short, he was rattled. So if you know that's likely going to be how he starts the game, then you get him to the sideline, you settle his nerves. You don't want that to be your opening drive. The Eagles feel like they got all the momentum. And I want you to think about this also. If it weren't for y'all going for it on 4th down on your opening drive, the defense did good. Y'all went for it on 4th down and got it on your opening drive, but the defense did good. Who's to say that you guys are going to go for it that early? You know what I'm saying? So they did the right call.
Wasn't that Devontae Smith, the incomplete catch? Well, supposedly catch. That was a 4th down play, right?
Yes.
Was that on 4th down?
Yeah, that was a 4th down play.
4th down. Yeah,
but I can't. Here's the thing: is I can't blame Shanahan for that. Because the 49ers or the Eagles quick snapped it.
Croc, I need to see you in camera.
I'm not blaming Shanahan for not challenging that.
We got to get the snap off because he knew that he probably bobbled it. And in a bang situation like that early in the game, it's tough. I really don't understand the sentiment of Shanahan's got to go.
Chris, I got a question for you. You as an Eagle fan, were you happy with the performance of your offense?
I was satisfied. I'm not going to say I was happy. I'm not going to say I'm optimistic looking going forward. I will say that I think even minus those short field situations they were put in, I think the bright side looking projecting forward would be that in the situations where they needed to make the plays, they made plays.
Let me just say this really quick.
Even though it was only one drive, it was the same with that Hurts drive. You saw he was kind of timid the entire game, but he did put that one drive together. And in these playoffs, especially now coming down to the Super Bowl, it's really not about whole game as much as it is about who's going to make that 1 or 2 plays that make the difference in a game. And he did, even though it was a little bit out of hand when it did happen, he was able to make those 1 or 2 couple plays to make me feel okay. I'm not going to say I'm over the moon confident at all. I won't. The defense did a great job. I'll be the first to admit it, but I also think that on the other side of it, neither one of those teams in the AFC have even anywhere close to a defense that San Francisco has. And I think if you line Cincinnati up against the Eagles, they're in big trouble because what's the one downfall of Cincinnati? Protecting Burrow. And what is the one thing that the Eagles have consistently done great all year? Sack the quarterback. So am I walking out of this game saying, with my head held high, strutting around saying we dominated? Absolutely not. I'll be the first to admit that. Your defense proved it. But it came down to those one or two couple plays that needed to be made when they were made. And like I said with the Brock Purdy injury, like that, the only reason that something like that injury happened was because of the dominance of that pass rush.
All right, Kenny, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to bring Steve in. We got Eric Crocker in here as well. Kenny, thanks for jumping in here, bro. You be safe out there, all right?
Oh, since he's you too, man. Thanks for. Hey, what's up, Croc? Thanks for having me on, y'all.
Crocker in there, man. Listen, man, I saw my man Eric Crocker down on the Oops, sorry, wrong one. I saw Eric Crocker. I was watching some of the Locked On, and I don't know how you do it, bro. And the game as emotional as this, y'all got to go in there and y'all can't really give it up the way y'all want to give it up, man. Y'all got a couple of you go bowling with the kids and you got to put the bumpers on the lane. And if you bowl with a curve, those bumpers fuck you up sometimes. I want to hear what you really got to say about this game, bro, because let me tell you, I don't know what was going on in y'all live chat, but I've seen fire Shanahan. He choked again. Brock Purdy's a bitch. Why did he come in after the injury instead of coming in before? Like, bro, these fans are just reacting in an insane way. I don't know how you manage to maintain and keep your composure on those kind of shows, man. I couldn't do it. I don't know how you do it, bro.
Yeah, so we saw all that, and at times I do kind of want to go off on people in the comments. Ultimately, I think for me, I look at it a little different because I think that regardless of what happened in that game, win or lose, I thought the 49ers had a good season. So I'm not going to overreact and be like, oh, fire Kyle Shanahan and all this, that, and the other, when I thought, man, like, you beat the Seahawks, you beat the Cowboys, like, and it's like, damn, only one team wins the Super Bowl, and it was unfortunate you had to lose Brock Purdy early in that game. Once you lost Brock Purdy, I kind of already kind of accepted this likely won't go our way. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of had time to kind of really process that, and I just watched to see if there were any kind of like, okay, can we do it? And you thought maybe after that McCaffrey touchdown, but it was just too much of an uphill battle for the defense. But as far as like handling people in the chat and all that, it's like fans are gonna react that way regardless. I think it's on us to not kind of stoop down to that level, you feel me, and try to bring this calming to some people that are highly upset, as they should be. It sucks to lose, but I don't know. For me, it was like, man, I got to wake up on January 29th and watch my team play football, and a lot of people can't say that. Matter of fact, only 4 fan bases could say that.
That's right. And that was with the third string quarterback. Everybody else got their starters in there. We the ones out here scraping and scrapping and showing who we are, man. I really, really like that. Steve, I'm going to give you the floor. Croc and Tony, y'all make sure y'all respond. I got to run upstairs real quick. I'll be back in less than 2 minutes, all right?
All right.
Go ahead, Steve.
All right, so there's only there's only a couple things that I do blame Kyle Shanahan for, and I'm not even sure who's out there, that's better, but there has to be somebody better than Josh Johnson for a fourth string quarterback.
Right, no, so the fact that you say you don't even know who's out there lets you know it's hard, bro. We're talking about fourth string.
Yeah, I get that. I do. And
Josh is a seasoned vet. He has run that offense. He was just in it last year with LaFleur out in New Jersey. And he filled in well as a reserve. But I mean, just ideally, any team that gets down to their fourth quarterback that they've had to play in a year, you're not going to be in the usually you're in trouble after your first guy goes down. And not only did your first guy go down, you had a second guy, okay, we're good. And then your second guy goes down, and it's like, damn. Then the third guy comes in, and he plays well. Right. Now your fourth guy, I mean, you can't have any type of expectations for a team to have 4 guys that can legit lead you to a victory. Like that's not realistic in the NFL.
When you're down to your third string quarterback and your first 2 can't come back in, isn't your obligation as a head coach to look for someone as the next quarterback in case that third string gets injured?
Who? The only person, and I actually brought this up when it happened, but the only person that you could have honestly said, hey, this would be a good, was Baker Mayfield. And we can say that now, but a lot of 49er fans, they hated the thought of him even being on the roster. And I thought it would have been a really good
better
signing.
than Baker Mayfield.
You said what?
I'd have to look online and see who was available, but there has to be somebody better than Baker Mayfield.
There wasn't anybody better than Baker
And
Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
The problem is with Josh Johnson is because, like Croc said, he knew the system. He knew the foundation of the system. So God forbid there's a scenario he could be thrown in and it wouldn't miss it would be an easier transition than having to teach somebody like off the street how to do this, how to go through the reads, the progressions, the play calls. So I understand why Kyle immediately grabbed him before they even knew what was wrong. They immediately claimed him right off the practice squad because his familiarity with that system. That's why they jumped on Josh Johnson. Now, from that point on, could they have brought in a Baker Mayfield to compete with a Josh Johnson? They could have. Could they brought in somebody else? Maybe, but they didn't. They stuck with him. And who the hell would have known this was going to happen?
I agree.
You can't predict this.
I agree with that. Yeah,
and projecting forward, here's one of the problems is where the 49ers end in the salary cap, because they're in some trouble. I mean, Garoppolo's obviously going to go or whatever, but it's shown weaknesses. And how do you?
Wait, what you mean showing weakness? What weakness?
The offensive line minus Trent Williams, I think, is a liability, and the defensive line minus Nick Bosa can be a liability. When Nick Bosa has 18.5 sacks and your next closest person has 5.
Yeah, and I've said it. Anybody listen locked on, I said I think the 49ers defensive line is overrated.
So
it's a fraud. I've been saying it for a while. It's a fraud.
They have tried. They're throwing resources at it though, right? Like now, maybe they could throw more, right? But they did. They went. They did a lot to get D Ford. I think realistic. I mean, I think when they made the deal, D Ford might still be on the roster right now if he was able to play it out and wasn't getting hurt, right? So they did try to go get D Ford and make that happen. They're probably still paying him. You spent the second round pick on Jackson. He was inactive for whatever reason. I don't know. They went and got Sosa Ebicam, which again, not a huge signing, but it was somebody that could contribute. I mean, they put resources there. I hear what you're saying though, like to go out and get a big name guy or something like that. But when you have a Nick Bosa, you got to find somebody that can play, competent on the opposite side of him. And I think they struggle to get anybody of that caliber.
What you have to do is you have
to try though. Like even with Kinlaw, Kinlaw was a 14th overall pick. You know what I'm saying?
But what you have to do is you have to try to find a complement to a Nick Bosa to kind of take some of the pressure off of him. Because this is what I was saying going into the game was I thought the Eagles should have treated Bosa like they treated Parsons. Because Bosa is a great pass rusher, but I think out of like 190 run defenders, he was ranked like 185. So if they isolated him on the RPO, you kind of neutralize him a little bit. So what you need is someone that can take pressure off of a Nick Bosa. Not saying that you are in a complete rebuild. Like really,
that goes on how the team's philosophy is building the roster. All right, look what we have invested at our second level of our defense between Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. You chose to invest heavily on your front four at Philadelphia Eagles, that's your philosophy. The 49ers tried to invest heavily by adding the Bosas, trying to find something in Ebukam, Omenihu, trading a 6th-round pick for him. And it actually turned out to be like, okay, he contributed. He's nothing special. They invested in Drake Jackson, like Croc said. They also have Teray on the practice squad for some reason. I don't know why he doesn't get a shot. They have Jordan Willis. But it's all on how teams, build their roster.
Tony, even then, man, we're talking about a team. Like, it ain't like the 49ers just got dominated up front. The damn Eagles averaged 3 yards a carry.
I know.
No, I completely agree. But what I'm saying is like fundamentally, when you look at it, like this is what I think the big difference, minus Purdy getting hurt, was in the game, was the fact that it was Bosa or bust. Whereas the Eagles were the only team in the NFL to have all 4 starting defensive linemen have double-digit sacks. So I come at you and I say, all right, you want to double Reddick? All right, what are you going to do about Fletcher Cox? You want to double Fletcher Cox? All right, what are you going to do about Brandon Graham? And I'm not saying you need to completely rebuild your defensive line.
I hear what you're saying.
A compliment to Bosa would probably be one of my priorities going into the offseason.
Ideally, you would like to do that, but even then, let's say, all right, they didn't do that. The 49ers had the number 1 defense in the NFL all year. So even I get what you're saying. Like, I would 100% love to have someone opposite Bosa. 100%. And again, I've said it. I thought the 49ers defensive line was overrated outside of Bosa, and he was so good it made everything else look a little bit better. And like you talked about with the sack numbers and all that, great. But again, number 1 defense all year. And not just that. I mean, we talking about Jalen Hurts. You know, he completed 15 out of 25 passes for 120 yards. Like, it wasn't this crazy game. Like, again, they gave up 3 yards per carry on the ground, the 49ers did. So even with not having that counterpart to Nick Bosa, it wasn't like the biggest issue was you had no quarterback. They couldn't keep a drive going. They couldn't get off the field because of penalties on third down. Like, the issues that the 49ers had in this game were more self-inflicted. And again, no, the Eagles won the game. But I'm just saying, in the sense of looking at it through 49ers lens, if I'm John Lynch and those guys, I'm in there and I'm telling them, like, look, we screwed. Look what we did. This is not how we played all year. So I can't overreact to one game where we were undisciplined defensively.
Like I said,
because maybe they were pressing because you got Josh Johnson out there, you know?
It was 64 yards combined for y'all number 1 and number 2 wide receivers, and y'all leading rusher at 43 yards. The defense itself wasn't the problem. It was the penalties,
and I understand that.
The quarterback.
I understand that. And the points don't reflect what happened at the end of the day. But projecting forward, if this matchup were to happen again next year in the NFC Championship, right? Do you think that Purdy would be the or any serviceable starting quarterback would be the sole thing making a difference in this game?
Yes,
that's what I'm trying to say.
the most important position on the field. Absolutely.
I'll say this, Chris. Again, you know, you guys won. It is what it is. It's fine. Brock Purdy finished his game. I think it's a different outcome. I'm not saying by winning it'll be a lot closer. Maybe they win, maybe they don't. Maybe the Eagles still win. But the problem is, and it's exactly what happened versus the Giants. I hate the Giants. I think they were the most overrated team in the NFL going into the playoffs. They should not have been there. But with the Eagles, when you have that type of line and you force a team to go one-dimensional with the pass, that favors the Eagles. And I'm just going to tell you,
Absolutely. I 100%.
And I'm just going to tell you this right now, and I'm just being respectful. I'm just sharing my opinion. Brock Purdy finishes that game. I think the Eagles never would have been that aggressive up front because all the misdirection, all the play action, the run with Kyle Shanahan, and how he plays his system. Because if you watch how the Giants played that game, it was so vanilla. I coached high school football, and that's what we were doing in high school football. And it's just so vanilla, that game plan. If this kid didn't get hurt, you would have seen a different attack. It would have kept, like you see how you said the RPO would keep Bosa off balance. All that pre-snap motion and shifting would have kept the Phillies D-line off balance.
And that was the scariest thing I said coming into this game. I said the offense is scary. I said when you have like a Debo in the backfield and then you split out McCaffrey and you put him in that jet sweep motion, I said that's a scary thing to have to handle because everyone has to be disciplined. And you saw it on the CMC touchdown. They didn't tackle well. It was all shoulders, no arm tackling. The only thing that I would say is that fundamentally, I don't feel like Purdy was the sole factor to the loss. I think there's other areas of impact that need to be addressed as a San Francisco. And that's not saying that it's a complete rebuild at all. It's not.
Yeah.
But
I see what you're saying.
The way the NFL is trending is the top paid guys are rushing the quarterback, protecting the quarterback, and stopping the wide receivers.
Yeah.
And when your defense is based around a guy like Nick Bosa giving you 18.5 and your next closest giving you 5.
They are really hating on you, Chris. They are hating on you hard in this chat, bro. It's funny because I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I think they're hating on you just because you're an Eagles fan. If I'm being completely honest with you.
But that's fine. But you see me here, right? Like, and I've been in this thing for a while now, and I haven't said anything disrespectful about the 49ers at all. I'm willing to talk X's and O's. I'm willing to break it down with you, and I've never said anything disrespectful about them. I'm a fan of the game. That's it.
Hey, Mr. Chris. Can
Yes.
I get on just a second? I'm sorry.
Damn, Terradome.
Hey, man. Congratulations, my brother. Hey, you got a monster out there. Y'all showed up. That's what it takes to get championship football done, man. Congratulations to you, the city of Philadelphia, and all your folks, man.
Reach the polls.
Y'all came with it. I can't
Look
deny
out your
it.
window, Mike.
I can't deny I'm here for the hate. I'm used to being hated. I've been down with the San Francisco 49ers since 1981. Ain't none of y'all gonna tell me nothing. Hey, you get physical, you smack people around. This is what happens. You got to match that intensity. You got to, as Al Davis used to say, the quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard.
But that's what I was saying
today.
Was going into this, I really thought that across all positions, this game basically broke down to them being fairly to almost even. And in that situation, I feel like the main difference in those kind of games is quarterback play. And it's not a knock on Purdy at all. It really isn't. I mean, I could bring up DVOA, look at the defenses he's played in that winning streak or whatever, but that's besides the fact.
Okay.
I don't understand how realistically you wouldn't want to favor Jalen Hurts at home in Philadelphia over a Purdy. Now, it sucks that it didn't work out that way, but
okay. And now I'm going to get into how we were looking at and viewing this. If you look at their QBRs, if you look at their stats, if you look at their percentages, if you look at their yards, they are virtually the same. Brock Purdy can pick you apart. Brock Purdy is efficient. Brock Purdy doesn't make mistakes. Brock Purdy is nimble of feet. Brock Purdy is everything we wanted, and I am here to state right now that is who I want at the helm of this franchise for the next few years to come. He can match Jalen. He can match Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, already Jalen Hurts had was only difference in the dynamic of the run pass option. He's a little more shifty. He runs a 4.59. It's posted. Brock do a 4.8, but nimble of feet really doesn't take into place how wonderful this kid is. And let me give my man Brock Purdy, let me give him his flowers. 8 straight games, undefeated. This dude stayed north of 100% passer rating and gave everybody all they had. Resurged the position of tight end, which we thought had went dormant, and made George Kittle an all-pro once again. I don't know why anybody else. I don't know what you're looking at. I know you're waiting for Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen to walk through that door. Sometimes it comes in the package of just efficiency, getting it done, and toughness, man. And he stares it down. He has great arm angle. As seen as evidence when these two kids played, and now I'm in disrespect to call them kids, but they played at Oklahoma and Iowa State, and it was 41-42.
Yeah, but that's a different animal.
No, it's not. It's the same animal. They played the same conference against each other, and your boy Jalen had more Division I, first round and high round talent on his team than Brock did.
Okay,
they're virtually the same level, and I thought Baker Mayfield in there as well.
None of that's a factor in what happened today.
So
what happened today is we got out physical, and McGlinchey.
No, we didn't.
Hey, look, when we go through 4 quarterbacks, it is a protection problem, Mike.
We didn't get out physical
problem.
We didn't get out
at the beginning of the year when you got a sorry daggone line it's going to come back and haunt you. And McGlinchey, you were playing a little bit better. You had done some things, but Micah Parsons last week threw you out the club looking like Uncle Phil throwing out Jazzy Jeff.
That was one play.
You got to protect your assets first,
Hey,
Mike.
hey, that was one play, and on that same play, he didn't even get to the quarterback. So what we talking about? You talking about aesthetics. You talking about looks. Micah Parsons didn't affect that play that he tossed Mike McGlinchey. So what are we talking about? If you want to be real, the tight end didn't hold up their blocking protection.
Quarterbacks.
It was the tight end, bro.
It ain't the quarterback.
It was the tight end.
What is it?
The tight ends are the ones that affect the game.
If you got a problem getting to work because your car keep breaking down, you got a car problem, Mike. You don't have a work problem. Go ahead.
So, the offensive line, I think, kind of does need to be addressed because outside of Trent Williams, there really isn't much. But
yeah, but that's
I want to ask you guys a question.
Hold on, I want to ask you guys a question. Wait.
What's the number one position we'll be looking for this offseason? When Breezy goes down to Mobile, Alabama, which congratulations to my Wayne Breezy. I hope everything went well in Philly, my man.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking for what? Offensive linemen. That is the number one problem to be addressed.
Absolutely wrong.
Are we looking for quarterbacks? Are we looking for running backs? Are we looking for more receivers?
Keep going.
Do we need more? Do we need better linebackers?
Keep going.
Do we need more edge rushing?
What's the number one need for this team right now? It's defensive linemen, bro. Stop playing with me, man. Stop playing with me, bro. It's defensive linemen. Stop playing with me. Defensive line is the biggest need for this 49ers team. And then after that, it's secondary. Stop playing with me, bro. What are you talking about?
But this is one of the places I think you guys really got to.
Aaron Banks has been a number one left guard in the entire NFL. Stop playing with me. Jake Brendel made it to the Pro Bowl. Stop playing with me, bro. What are y'all talking about? Mike McGlinchey has been above average. Y'all can hate on him all y'all want. Stop playing with me. Now that alternate rotation bullshit at right guard, I don't know why they doing that. We got a rookie in Burford, but you don't just give up on a rookie in his first year. You let him develop more in the offseason. He's going to be just fine. The offensive line is not a problem. Now, if you want to tell me they're going to look for a center because Brendel's washed up and he's past his prime, that's something different. But you cannot sit here and tell me that the 49ers offensive line was a fucking problem this year. That is not the truth. Y'all got to stop lying to yourselves about that. What are
not a problem for the regular season. But when it comes down to matching up against these teams in the NFC, it would be a problem if you have to face the Eagles in the same situation again next year. Now, the Eagles are going to lose people. They're going to lose.
Right. Here we come with the push. I got to push back.
The same guy who thinks Witherspoon is a great corner.
I got to push back a little bit. I'm going to say something, and I'm just telling you from a fan and a person who played and coached football, if they were allowed to run their offense, the outcome is different in this game. I'm telling you 100%. They became one-dimensional. They put the offensive line in a position where they were just teeing off against them. There was no responsibilities, no rush lanes. They just kept coming, and that's it.
So when did Purdy get hurt?
Purdy got hurt in the first drive, second drive, opening drive.
No, he did. He
this offensive line is built to run a Kyle Shanahan offense, and once Purdy went down,
the problem is the 49ers offense is not a drop back offense. It's a quick
step drop, quick out, yards after catch off.
So you don't need stellar offensive linemen, even though we do have some good offensive linemen in Trent Williams, Aaron Banks. I think Burford has potential. He's young. He needs to be taught the ropes. McGlinchey can be replaced if it comes down to a dollar and cents thing. If someone offers him more money as a free agent, then that's going to become a need. But if you look at the play where Brock Purdy got hurt, it is designed where there's action going around. There's an orbit motion behind Purdy.
Who missed the block, Tony?
It's a design play.
A third string tight end.
No, hold on. It's a design run. Listen. It's a design play where Debo goes around the quarterback as an orbit motion to freeze the second level of your defense. Then they send a tight end from the weak side, from the opposite side, to crack the free rusher on the left side, last man on the line of scrimmage, and the offensive line down blocks. What happened was he missed the block. It happens. Maybe it was a poor angle. It happens. He got hurt and it cost him the game. But I'm just saying, if he didn't get hurt on that play and that offense could have completed their script. They didn't even complete the script. If Kyle could have gotten to a rhythm with that offense, with run, play action, the jet sweeps, whatever he had planned for that game, I do think this game would have been different. It would have been a lot closer and potentially a different outcome. Because now you're looking at a situation where the whole second half, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. So what happens? Your defense is on the field. They get gassed. They break down, and that's what happens.
Who was the tight end that missed the block?
I think it was Croft. Croft was the cross block, and then Kittle and McGlinchey were the down blocks. So they left the last man on the scrimmage unblockable, thinking that he would bite on the orbit sweep, on the orbit motion, because Debo was running that way. So, I mean, listen, 9 out of 10 times it works. And the problem that I have with the fan base and people in the NFL or like just whatever, when it works, he's a genius. When it doesn't work, he sucks. That's not acceptable. And I don't care what anybody says. You throw a fourth-string quarterback who's been in the league 16 years, is approximately 38, 37 years old, who's been a backup.
It was 81. I'm sorry.
His backup his whole life.
Thank you,
into
Mike.
a situation of an NFC championship game. I don't give a shit who your coach is and who you have in front of you. It's going to be an issue.
So if all things stay the same and Purdy stays healthy throughout that entire game.
Yes.
I know it's hard to do and look back and project or whatever. So if Purdy stays healthy for that entire game,
mm-hmm.
do you think you win the game?
I think we could potentially. I'm not going to. We
chance.
don't know if we can win.
Yes.
I will tell you this.
Yes. I will
tell you this. Wait, I will tell you this based off of production, and I'm just saying statistics that the Eagles posted, and I'm not going to give the penalty stat. I'm just going to go based off of what I saw from that team. Hold on, let me just pull it up.
Besides the last 2 minutes of the first half, where they put up those 14 points on short fields because of mistakes, because of Josh Johnson, I will 100% agree with you. It was that third quarter drive. Those
You're 100% right.
Nothing in the second half counts. You cannot count anything in the second half.
San Francisco 49er penalties, the illegal contact, the face mask.
You're 100% right. Listen, Dre Greenlaw got the flag 100%. Ward was a little handsy. We'll give it to you. That's a flag 100%. But you're not going to sit here, and no one's going to sit here and try to tell me that the Eagles are a superior team, which would allegedly an MVP thrown for 121 yards.
No.
I'm
sorry.
And that's how I know the Niners would have won this game.
I'm sorry. The statistics don't add up. As bad as the 40 – wait, hold on, Mike. Let me finish, please. As bad as the 49ers offense was with no quarterback, you're telling me you possessed 37-26 to 22-34, and it was a 100-yard difference in productivity and offense?
But that's the fundamental difference is because of the way that they built their defense and getting those short fields. All right, those stats all sound nice and stuff. But what did we put up? 38 points?
Yes, because number one,
because we had short fields, because our defense was built a certain way.
I understand that, but the 49ers offense was never able to get into a rhythm because of the lack of the quarterback. Josh Johnson sucks. Brock Purdy got hurt. Whether it's Kyle's fault or not, if the offense was allowed to get into a rhythm, I'm not saying full arsenal of rhythm, but if it was a consistency where we could throw a pass more than 5 yards, we couldn't do that. So, we became severely one-dimensional.
Can't you give a little credit to the Eagles' defense?
I'm giving 100%. I'm giving you guys credit. You stepped up.
Wouldn't throw the ball?
Yes.
Y'all can't.
I
Chris,
understand that. But the problem is,
I'm coming with it, man. Y'all came with it. You were intense. You came out there and you matched our intensity level on offense. And it is what it is. I'm not gonna be like the Cowboy fans around the world and the media after we subdue the number one offense in all the land and hold them to 12 points and say, well, Dak had a bad day. it was Dak's fault.
Oy.
No, y'all came out there and ball. But I will tell you to a man, we are the number one defense in the entire NFL. We are good. We're matching you, but it changes the dynamic when your quarterback goes out and my
That's the
backup
problem.
has oven mitts on and won't, and Cam Newton won't jump on the daggone ball. We could have at least jumped on the ball, maintained possession, and punted. It was just a 14-point difference right there. 2 scores, a stupid
Absolutely.
score, and a pick away.
You take away that one drive that Jalen Hurts had those couple rushing plays. You guys did an amazing job shutting him down. You did a great job shutting AJ Brown down. You know,
And
Devontae
I
Smith
want to
had a-
take away. I want to take away that catch that wasn't a catch at the very beginning of the game that y'all got real slick on and went on and snapped it. And your Eagles, and I can't blame them. I would do the same thing in Santa Clara, California. Hold that angle back until after that play is called. Brilliant, my man. Brilliant gamesmanship.
I told them the same thing. I said, when you saw Devontae Smith get up that quickly and say, we need to get on the ball, he knew he dropped it. He knew he dropped it.
That's on Kyle a little bit. That should have sent red flags everywhere. Whenever they get up and they don't, give you the first down, like, yeah, whatever. When they run into that huddle and say, hey, snap this, snap into a Slim Jim, we should have known right there. But hey, it's a brilliant thing. You didn't show the replays in the link until after the plays had transpired, and that was a 4th and 2. And you got plays points off of it that could change the complexity of the game.
Congratulations. I just want to say, you guys did great tonight. All right. I don't think Shanahan's the problem. I really don't.
Guys, you got 5 more minutes, and then we're going to get to the super chat segment here. We're going to get to the super chat segment. So if you guys have any more super chats, send them in. I got a couple of them. I think I see about 10 super chats so far that have been marked for reading. We're going to go through them as a group. If there's any other thoughts that you guys have on here, Tony, Steve, Terradome, and Chris, if there's any other thoughts that you guys want to get through, let's get through them in the next 5 minutes so we can get to the super chat segment. Then we're going to wrap this up so I can see the second half of this AFC Championship game, so I can see who's going to be playing the Eagles in 2 weeks, all right? So let's start with Tony, man. Tony, any other thoughts that you want to share? You want to get off your chest, man? It was a rough one. It was an emotional one, and here we're pointing the blame. We're talking about the Niners need this, the Niners need that, and I guess it's all a matter of perspective, right? Tony, you said something that I thought was very interesting, though. You said, I can't quote you because I don't know the exact words, but it was along the lines of, if the Niners get outbid for McGlinchey's services, then we might need to look to replace him. If they don't get outbid, if you had it your way, would you be bringing him back? And then give me the rest of your thoughts. After you're done, we'll go to Steve, then we'll go to Terradome, then we'll go to Chris.
I think it comes down to a money factor. And the one thing that's given me a little doubt is, the way the 49ers roll as far as contracts. Before their last season ends, they like to get him under an extension. That is yet to happen for Mike McGlinchey. So it's a little bit off script from how they usually operate. But as far as whatever else I have to get off my chest, again, congratulations to the Eagles. They won. But I just think there's a lot of context behind this. And I think I just wish that Purdy could have finished this game. I just really wish that he did not get hurt. And because I promise you, I think it would have been a lot closer, if not different, in the outcome. Because
damn near finished the whole damn thing.
when you hang your defense out to dry due to the constantly running the ball, and we could talk about officiating. Were there some questionable calls? Sure, there were. There was questionable calls. There was a handful of them. But I'm not going to sit here and say, well, why'd they call that? It is what it is. They called it. It's the game. That's what they rolled with. But I just wish Brock could have finished this game, because I think it would have been different and it would have been a lot closer, because this team,
Another 30 minutes if I ask.
with Brock Purdy, was a dangerous team going into the playoffs. And I don't care. We only scored 19? What did we score versus Dallas? 19?
19.
We scored 19 versus Dallas. That's fine. It is what it is. We won the game. But I just think the way Kyle's offense was with the aggression of the front line of the Eagles, it could have been a little different. if the defense got to catch their breaths instead of coming on the field in 2 minutes. So there's pros and cons to it. But again, congratulations to the Eagles, and that's it.
Hey, wait, before you go, Tony, let me ask you this question. Who do you think had a better defense, the Eagles or the Cowboys?
Oh, come on.
No. I'm just asking him a question. I'm just asking what he thought, what he thinks. Who had a better defense?
I can't answer that because of who played the quarterback position. I can't answer that, Mike. It's not a fair answer to give.
All year, statistically, it hasn't been a fair answer, dude. You're telling me that Slay and Bradbury haven't been possibly the top 2 tandem in the NFL as cornerbacks, and the only team in the NFL to have 4 starters have double-digit sacks, and that's not a better defense than Micah Parsons, and then who?
Oh, didn't the Dallas Cowboys put 40 up on your defense?
Okay, and we put up 34 against them with a backup quarterback.
Okay, well,
so
I'm just saying what I know. I can't. I honestly, what is honestly odd about me, and I just don't understand this, and I can't figure this out for nothing. Maybe you could explain it to me. How you're number 1 in sacks, but you're not number 1 in pressures. That's what I don't understand.
Because I did my research, Tony, coming into this.
Couldn't answer.
If I may, they feasted on the Washington Commanders when they were young in their season and couldn't get their offensive line together.
They got like what,
and
7
then
sacks?
That was 9 sacks in one game, and then they feasted on the lonely New York Giants, 7 sacks in the game. That's your 15, right? That's 16. That's your gap that makes this look like, oh my God, they leading in sacks. They feasted on a couple of other teams. Y'all, and they were your sacks. They're great. You got them, but I see how you can pull that off a little bit. Because I was wondering how can you average 4.1 sacks a game for 17 games? So I had to go back and look at, did they have a couple of really big games? Because you have 70 and the closest competitor has 55. So I said, how did they pull off this extra 15? Y'all went buck wild on the Chicago Bears. You went buck wild on the Cowboys. You went buck wild on the New Orleans Saints, who we shut out. And
wasn't
you went
your
buck wild
defense
on
the
the
one
Washington
who
Commanders.
Wasn't your defense the one who had to go to overtime against the Oakland Raiders with Stidham as their quarterback and allowed 35 points?
Yes, sir. And that was on New Year's Day in Las Vegas, Nevada, after New Year's. And let me tell you something. I've been 25 years old before. I have never been able to look at my bank account and see about $10 million. I'm going to promise you there was some boys missing some bad checks that night in Las Vegas, Nevada. It happens with so many teams. Mike, I think I told you about it. There are 5 cities that will produce an upset during the end of the year historically. I studied this stuff. When these boys go to Miami, Florida,
South Beach,
Atlanta, Georgia, Las Vegas, Nevada, Los Angeles, California, and New York, there's probably going to be an upset come Sunday morning. I'm not saying anybody did. All right. Oh, you married guys? I'm not saying you did it. Hey, it's cool. But I was doing it back in my day, and I was broke.
Okay. All right, man. All right. I was just wondering. I wasn't leading or anything. I just wanted to know who we thought had a better defense, because I felt like the Cowboys had a better defense when we went against the Cowboys versus coming into this game against the Eagles. This is not about the result afterwards at all. That's not what I was asking the question about. It was going into the game, which defense was I more worried about? And with me personally, I was more worried about the Cowboys defense than the Eagles defense. And now, to rebut a little bit of what you said, Terradome, there, every team that has ever led the league in sacks has had those 8, 9, 10 sack games 2 or 3 times in the season. And that's usually what sets them apart from the rest of the league. So I don't hold that against the Eagles.
I don't either. I don't
You
either.
still
I'm just getting into the dichotomy of how it happened.
Right. But to Tony's point about where were the pressures didn't add up. I think that the pressures show more consistent pass rush, where sacks are more circumstantial, if that makes any sense. We've seen sacks. We saw Solomon Thomas how many years ago get credited with a sack where he didn't touch a guy. He was the closest person when the quarterback ran out of bounds. Like, sacks are they're a finicky stat. Pressures show more of your guys getting to the quarterback and forcing them to move around a little bit. So that's why I was asking that question, but it's all good. Steve, let me get your final thoughts before we go ahead and get to these super chats, man. Go ahead.
Just my personal opinion, but I think some of these rules, like that roughing the kicker, it has to change. They have to look at how it happened. And if the player was pushed into the kicker, it should not be a penalty on that team.
I agree with you 100%. I was the first one that said he got blocked into him. I don't think that was a penalty. He got blocked into him. That should not have been a penalty. And even if it was, it should have been the 5-yard variety, not the 15, because it wasn't the landing leg. It was the kicking leg. I agree with you. He was blocked into him on that one. That was the backbreaker. That was the one that snowballed into the illegal contact, that snowballed into the face masking penalty. And that was the backbreaker. And I will be the first to admit that shouldn't. He was blocked into
him. And even with that, I agree with both of you guys. But even with that, the game was over because we couldn't throw the ball down the field. We just couldn't.
And also the player that started towards the end, I think he should be suspended for the Super Bowl for starting that. And props to
42.
Props to Trent Williams for ending it.
Woo!
That was dirty.
He ain't ended. He shut that MF down.
I was yelling. See Hassan Reddick? Reddick was running on the field without a helmet. I said, someone needs to get that guy off of the field, because the last thing we need is Reddick suspension for the Super Bowl. But I think that was dirty, bro. The whistle had blown, and that was dirty. That was frustration boiling over, and I completely understand it, but I think that was dirty.
Well, the Niners have this mindset where we might not start it, but we're definitely going to end it. So I applauded the Niners for going out there and standing up for their brothers when the Eagles guys wouldn't back down. However, there's also a point in time where it's like, come on, man, like, look at what you're doing, look at what you're going to cost us. It ended up being offsetting penalties, so it didn't really matter at the end of it all, and I'm glad the refs called it that way. But there was no flag the whole time until Trent Williams decided to body chuck somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
that was a little.
That was what, like at least 5 seconds after the whistle blew.
Right. Well, and there were 2 scrimmages going on at the same time. There was a pile up north and there was a pile in the south. And they were just like, the refs just weren't going to throw a flag. And then once Trent Williams slammed my man, then I see the flag. I'm like, oh, now y'all want to fucking throw it. Like, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was kind of tiring, but I don't want to be the guy that blames the refs. The Niners have to go into every game, and not just the Niners. Any NFL team, you got to go in knowing it's 11 and the Zebras against you. You got to go in there and you got to overcome all of those factors every single game, home or away. I don't care. And unfortunately, the Niners couldn't do it. So,
and that's why I've been saying in the past, how many shows, fire all the refs, put electronic guy, let the electronic guy call all the penalties. That's why I've been saying it, Mike.
Oh, wow.
I don't like it. It's the same thing with baseball with these, like, getting rid of the behind the plate umpire. The human nature of it aspect a little bit I like it a little bit, like.
Or at least, hey, Chris, can we all agree? Make NFL referees full-time and 100% salaried and not have them doing this and that. He's a lawyer, he's a dentist, he's a doctor.
If they were accountable for their calls and they got penalized for calling wrong calls, then okay, keep them. But they're not.
Well, different sport, but you saw the exact same thing happen last night in that Lakers-Celtics game. that blatant foul on LeBron James. And then immediately after the game, the NBA came out and said, we got it wrong. All right, but what does that do for the impact of the game? The Celtics still won.
Still lost the game.
Right.
But what's that umpire in the MLB? Miguel Hernandez or whatever, the awful behind the plate guy.
All right,
I'm kind of in the middle.
Let me get your final thoughts.
Did y'all see Patrick Beverly come out with the camera? And tell him, look here. That was killer. I'm sorry.
Well,
go ahead,
I'm saying you get rid of all the refs in all sports. They're basically no good at all. And
all right,
there were correct calls, and there was a lot of garbage calls, but
you got me now, Mike. Let me go ahead and throw this out real quick, Steve. First and foremost, man, a drink to seeing my boys all back together. I checked y'all out on YouTube yesterday.
Yes,
I saw
sir.
Nick.
Yes, sir.
I saw Greasy. I saw.
Hold on. Let me bring Tony back. Let me bring Tony back for that. Hold
Where's
on.
Tony at? Seeing you, Nick, Tony. Man, and Breezy all together.
Yeah.
Hey,
Mike,
shout out to the mothership. The mothership had landed in Philly, man. Y'all look good together. It was some cornhole discrepancies, but we'll let that go.
Hey, Mike, you and Nick had that race?
No, actually, we did not. We didn't run the race, man. We did not run the race.
Run the race, man.
Pay-per-view.
Terradome. Terradome.
Get y'all paper.
Hey, Terradome, I was tossing 5-pound bags. Mike's was tossing 5-ounce bags. So that's like a big difference.
Oh, look at the hate. That's not true. I'm gonna challenge that because on the official game that we showed on live,
I got the recording of you even saying it, Mike.
He got receipts, Mike.
I got receipts too, because Tony, what he's not telling you is he's talking about the first game. The game that we showed on camera were with the Niner bags, and they were all regulation. They were all even. So he's trying to play you against me, bro. What he
the
said
first
was
game
true,
I was throwing 5-pound bags. I'm like, yo, why isn't this shit going in?
Man, it's wonderful seeing y'all together, man.
He tried to get me there.
Your question about the Eagles or the Cowboys, which one had a better defense?
Hold on, Terry. Hold on. Tony, man, thanks for jumping in here, bro. I appreciate you. Give my love to the family. I know you got family over there.
One love, Tony.
Right, tell Kim thanks for letting me borrow you for an hour or so, okay? I appreciate you, big bro.
Have a good night, guys.
Be safe out there.
The question about who's a better defense, the Eagles or the Cowboys, I'll just say it like this. I think the Eagles have a better collection of players, but the Cowboys seemingly play better. That's what I'll say, because I think y'all got as many all pros on defense as we do, but y'all both are there for second and third. The San Francisco 49ers had the best players. Again, I'm gonna reiterate. I think our biggest deficiency is the right part of the offensive line. It's got to be a protection issue. If you've seen quarterbacks go down, and first, second, and 10th week, 9th week, and 2 went down today. Man, it's got to be something there. And thank y'all for having Miss Anita Baker do the national anthem. It's for whatever, her birthday was just recently, and man, when I seen Anita Baker pull that national anthem, man, it did something to my heart. Some of my best days were back in the Anita Baker days. I'll leave that.
Back when you were in Miami, huh? When you were in Miami, broke, still living it up. Is that what you're talking about? I know what you're talking about, big dog. I hear you over there. All right, so guys, look, this is what we'll do, man. We got some super chats. We're gonna run through the super chats here. Chris, if you gotta go, that's all. That's good. I want to thank you for staying in here. So as long as you have, you got to deal with the hostile 49er fan base right now. You guys won. They don't want to see you on here repping your colors or anything like that. But again, you're a friend of the family. You know, you're a brother to my brothers. That means you're my brother. We're in here. We're good. You're welcome to stay. What we do here at the end of every show is the super chat segment. And what we do is people who pay for comments to be read on the air. We break that all down here. So that's what we're going to do right now. All right. We don't get to do victory shots tonight. So we're sorry for everybody. The game didn't go the way that we wanted it to, but we still got the super chat segment. So we're going to start at the top. We'll rotate Steve. Everybody's going to get to respond to one, and we'll go around in a circle as needed. We're going to start with my man Steve. This first one here is from Gerald. He says here, what was the point of the game that you knew you were screwed? I knew we were done after the roughing the punter call. He didn't say after Brock Purdy went down. He said after the roughing the punter call. Steve, is that when you knew that this game was over?
I kind of had that fear when Brock Purdy went out. But you know, like it's a combination of things, right? It's Brock Purdy going out. Yeah, and for a while our defense held, you know, and we got something going on offense, and then like it's just one thing after another with Josh Johnson, and he just looked like he didn't belong. Like, I mean, honestly,
Fourth string guy.
He's a first guy. Right.
It was the last 2 minutes of the first half. It really was. It was because it was a tight game to that. The 49ers started to build back confidence. You know, the Eagles went down and drove and scored, and then the Niners defense was kind of shutting them down. And then once Purdy got out, and then it got to that last 2 minutes left, and it got down to that 21-7 going into half. Knowing the into Purdy and knowing that Josh Johnson was the guy that would be responsible for the whole second half, I think that was the point where the game got hand.
I also feel like Josh Johnson had better protection than Josh Purdy had when Purdy was in there. Explain that one to me.
Well, I think collectively they had to get a little bit better because, guys, this is all we got now. And even then, he goes down. I'll say it like this. Man, that second play when I saw Warner go down, and then he came back eventually, and then Bosa's on the sideline, gets leg whipped, and he's over there bleeding. And, you know, sometimes it's just not your day. It just says it's not your day. But when I saw Christian McCaffrey trying to swap out helmets to get the speaker in his helmet versus the other quarterback, I was like, this is really getting bad. This is going to get I had a college coach one time say, hey, man, it's about to get funky out there. It was, I think it was 30-0 at half, and they wind up dusting us off pretty good.
All right, Pterodome, this next question is going to be for you. This was from Rome. He says, and I quote, why call long developing plays so early against the pass rush with 70 sacks? That was the narrative all week. Eagles' path was to get to the quarterback. Brock Purdy got hurt because of it. Were they long developing plays? I don't know if they were that. What do you think, Pterodome?
Rome 33, you definitely right, man. You don't want to be back there with a 5 and a 7-step drop dealing with some dogs early. You want to get that thing. We always say get it out of your hands quick. Get it out of your hands quick. This is how Tom Brady has sustained himself for 20 years in the NFL. We got playmakers to get it to them quickly out of your hands. Let's go. And if you can set it up, because Kyle is a narrative type coach versus Al Davis, who's this is what I do. You get ready to get this work. I don't care. He needed to set it up a little bit to get their ears pinned up a little bit and have them, thinking and hesitating for a second.
Well, this is why
correct.
This is exactly why I don't think that the 49ers quarterback is a position of need to attack, is because Kyle Shanahan has shown it throughout the season that he can basically make almost any kind of quarterback successful in his system. So there's no need to overpay a Brady. There's no need to overpay anyone like that when your system is based on a yards after catch kind of system. You know, like you see it with Debo. You see it not so much with Ayuk, but it's the Debo and the Christian McCaffreys, where it's that three-step drop, get it out of your hand quick, you know, easy decisions, everything like that. Because you saw, I mean, I can't say that Trey Lance was very successful in that system, but Garoppolo had proven that he had been successful in it. And then when you bring in a guy like a Mr. Irrelevant like Brock Purdy, and he's able to do what he's able to do in those kinds of situations, it kind of shows that the system that he builds isn't reliant on that top end kind of quarterback. And when you're in the kind of salary cap position you are, to be able to have that benefit of not having to spend at the quarterback position, because you're looking at the teams that are still in it with your Bengals and your Eagles on those quarterbacks with rookie contracts, it's a benefit. So I think that Purdy should at least have the starting job going into next year.
I don't know if I'm going to agree with the starting job, but that is a debate for the entire offseason. You'd be taken away from content that I'm going to create later on if I were to answer that question now. So we'll come back to that. We're going to put a pin in that one. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. You know what I mean? Look, the fact of the matter is this, man. In any game, at any time, your quarterback is vulnerable to injury. It doesn't matter if it's first down, third and long, third and short. None of that makes a difference. One wrong hit, you are down a quarterback. Backup quarterbacks have to be ready. They have to be prepared. Josh Johnson did not look the role tonight, and I'm really upset that he was on the 49ers
as a fourth stringer. And here's the thing. You know what cripples franchises?
Wait. Before you say that, I'm not going to consider him a fourth stringer. He was the backup. Brock Purdy was a starter. He was number 2. I understand what you're saying as far as depth charts go. I completely get that. But the Niners have to be aware that we are one hit away from the next man being up. And if you don't have faith in a guy like Josh Johnson to execute your plays, you got to have a better plan in place. And Kyle Shanahan did not have a better plan in place for Josh Johnson to run this offense.
But Mike, he was already on the third stringer, man.
that doesn't matter.
No,
that doesn't matter. Now let me go out here and say this. Right? There's not a lot of quarterbacks that are good in the NFL. As high as everyone was on Minshew. Minshew was the biggest free agent backup this entire offseason, right? And what happened when he went in for the Eagles? 0-2. 0-2, right? He was the biggest named free agent backup quarterback in the entire NFL. There's only a handful of these guys that you can trust to go in there and win you games. We got lucky. We got a gem in Brock Purdy. We did. I'm not going to hold anybody. No qualms about that at all. We got Josh Johnson behind Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy was that guy. He came in here. He was confident. He knew the offense. He executed it well. The 49ers lucked out having our number 3 be just as good as number 2. That's where we were. However,
let me say the worst thing you can do as a franchise is overpay a decent quarterback.
Yeah, you don't want to overpay. And right now, the 49ers are lucky that our top 2 quarterbacks are both on rookie contracts. I'm going to leave it at that. We'll see what happens next year. I can almost guarantee you Josh Johnson won't be back. I can almost guarantee you. Josh Johnson.
Question for you, Mike.
Catch that?
Oh, shit. What's the score? What's the score?
Let's go, Bengals. It's about to be 13 up. Oh, it's about to be 13 up after the extra point. Let's go, Cincy. Let's go.
Mike, question for you.
A man went above everybody. Check this out. Oh, shit.
Go ahead, Steve.
Look at him. Look at him work. Look at him work. Let's go, Higgins. Let's go, T.
Don't mind Mike. He's got ADD, man. Mike's everywhere.
I'm sorry. What's up, Steve? I'm sorry.
To help Bosa on the defensive side of the ball for like 4 or 5 draft picks or whatever. who would it be?
Say that one more time for me, Steve.
If you could bring in one defensive player from any team in the NFL to help Bosa on the defensive side of the ball for a couple of draft picks, who would it be?
Chris
You don't even
Jones.
give up draft. You don't even have to
Chris
give up draft.
Jones, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hargraves is a free agent
Chris
after
Jones,
the season.
Chris Jones.
Hargraves is a free agent.
Because for me, it would be
Jones.
Michael Parcell.
Listen. Y'all want to know the truth?
Fletcher
If
Cox
I'm the Niners and he's healthy, I'm bringing back D Ford. D Ford was a beast when healthy. D Ford was a monster. And in passing situations, that's what you need. I would have brought back D Ford.
Okay.
I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is as far as his recovery. I don't know if he's ever going to play football again. But you give me a healthy D Ford on the opposite side of Nick Bosa, the league would have been completely hit and caught off guard. We weren't fortunate enough to have that happen right now. That's all.
I'm not sure who the two on the and again, I might sound like a little homer here, but I'm not sure who the two are on the Eagles defensive line. But I think it might be it's either Reddick and Graham or Graham and Hargraves. I think they would be, and they're free agents, so you don't have to give up draft picks for them. But you're in a salary cap. You're in a salary cap.
I thought he was talking about this season, not next season. So I apologize.
Any season, this season, next season doesn't matter.
Well, I haven't looked at the free agency pool for next year, so I don't have an answer right now. So
if it's me, give me Chris Jones, Mike D Ford for real, man.
Yes.
Out of everybody, D Ford.
He's talking about pass rush. He's talking about pass rush, man.
Take him over Brandon Graham.
No, D Ford, man.
When
y'all
healthy,
here? Y'all in the chat?
He
said D Ford. Thanks, Danny Dynamo. That's where I'm at. Symmetry 7. Yeah, bro. Yeah, he said it.
All right, I ain't messing with y'all. All right, here you go, Terradome. Why is Kyle down to the fourth quarterback? Oh yeah, because he ran Trey Lance between the tackles. It starts and ends with Kyle. I dare you to agree with this.
Disrespectful.
Go ahead, Terradome. I dare you to agree with it.
One or two were Kyle's. No, one is on Kyle. No, I say two were on Kyle, and two were on the protection / the quarterback. That was poor play design to run the quarterback into the teeth of a really good defensive front. And secondly, that play where you got a third stringer blocking the all-pro Reddick. Come on, man. No, don't do that. Don't do that. That's me.
All right, we're gonna keep it moving. We got a lot more to get to here. Guitar Boyus. I don't know if I'm saying the name right. Why is Tyler Croft matched up with Reddick one-on-one on any play action pass before you've established a run? That is irresponsible play calling. This goes back to the play specifically when Brock Purdy got injured. And I thought it was Kittle. I was wrong. I went back and I looked at the play. It was 81. It was Tyler Croft. And, Tyler Croft had a tough – any tight end in that situation, including George Kittle, they had a tough job there because they started on one side, had to work their way across the field and try to pick up the pass rush on a play that the pass rusher already had the momentum going. Now you got to find his angle and track it. It was a tough call. It was a hard play. But, if it was easy – anybody would be out there doing it. I don't have a good answer as to why it was Croft. But here's what I do know. It happened, and that was the reason that the Niners lost this game. And that one play right there, you can put that on a poster. That play right there is why the Niners lost this game.
Got to at least chip.
I won't beat around the bush on it. If anyone else has anything to add, you guys can say it now. If not, we're going to go to the next comment.
No, that covered my question last time and that one. So
yeah,
bad
play. That's poor play design. Don't have them doing that.
Just they got to get better at pass protection. Whether they get new talent, whether they practice it in the offseason, they have to do something to keep our start.
Almost had it. All right, JP Hellahard is here. You know what, Chris? You can take this one here. Scripted NFL football. This game was fixed from the beginning. As an Eagles fan, Chris, what do you think?
I hate to play this narrative, but I really do think that at certain points, Philly does get disrespected. We're seeing it in the NBA right now. Embiid's not a starter, dude. I don't think it was fixed. It's really tough to say because San Francisco and Philly both have great market. They really do. I think the NFL would have been happy, almost jubilant with either one of the markets that made it. But I mean, to say that it's fixed and scripted, I think the refs did a decent job.
Of course, the Eagles fan thinks the refs did a good job tonight. Go, get out of here. Go.
Chris, if we would have won that thing, he said they just wanted to see the movie Mr. Irrelevant starring Ryan Gosling.
My final take is this, and I said it earlier in the show, guys. So you guys know I'm not just saying this because of the question here. If you're an NFL team, you got to line up and you got to know that you're going against the opposing 11 plus the Zebras. You got to be above reproach. You got to go out there so they can't question your integrity, they can't question your mindset, and they can't throw flags on you. And tonight, unfortunately, the Niners just bit the bullet. You know what I'm saying?
Don't leave the factors and the decision up to the refs. Win the game because you win the game.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Take it out of their hands. And tonight, the Niners just didn't do it, guys. But look, you guys can spin this however you want. This was a phenomenal season for the 49ers, considering we went through 3 fucking quarterbacks. We had to trade for a running back in the middle of the season. You had the wide receiver number 1 not be Deebo Samuel. You got George Kittle come on with a late emergence in the second half of the season. This was a phenomenal season for the 49ers. It didn't end the way we wanted it to, but damn it, we're here. Like Croc said when he first came on the show, there's 4 teams.
And Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell was out a late scratch. That surprised me. I didn't see him on the injury report during the week.
But if you want to talk about the refs, I think the only questionable call coming out of the refs was that punt. I think every other call was a decent, legitimate call. I don't think that the refs were, wasn't.
I don't know, man. That first 4th down was a big missed call, bro.
Yeah, but listen, the positioning of the ref was he did what he had to do, that's something where he was positioned where he was, and he didn't, because of the way Devontae Smith fell, he didn't see that ball move or whatever. But the face mask was a face mask. The illegal contact was an illegal contact.
Yeah. But I have to include the front office of New York or somebody to run that replay
exactly
and say, hey, buzz down or something.
And that's my issue.
We addressed this when the Rams played New Orleans, and that egregious call happened.
Exactly.
Everybody, you have the right to call and say, hey, hold on a minute. Take a timeout.
Right.
Y'all need to look at something here.
That's where we are right now.
That's an under 2-minute rule. That's not a beginning of the quarter rule. That's an under 2-minute rule. It was Shanahan.
No. That's not true. That's not true. New York can intervene at any moment in the game. Moment in the game. New York has the right to intervene at any moment in the game, and they drop the ball there. But I'm not going to let that one play define this entire game. That one play does not define this entire game. So I get it. I'm not going to say it's scripted. I don't believe the NFL is scripted because if I did believe it, I wouldn't watch it anymore. I wouldn't be buying all this apparel. I wouldn't be wearing all this stupid shit on my head if I thought it was a script. If I thought this was a movie that the outcome was predetermined, I would not support this league. And we are all here because we believe when week 1 starts and everybody's 0-0, our teams have a shot at getting there. I refuse to believe or to accept the idea that this is a fixed and scripted league. I know this is an entertainment. The NFL is registered as entertainment, so they do have the right to script things, but you can't make people catch balls. You can't make people drop balls. You can't make people break tackles and all that stuff.
Completely irrelevant. My father-in-law is a Jets fan, and I keep having this argument with him. The year that Lawrence was the one overall, and he was saying the Jets won that one game, and that took them out of the Lawrence competition. I try my hardest to try to explain to him the NFL is a league where you cannot throw games. Like you cannot do that, because if you do not go 100% on every play, you end up getting hurt. I learned that playing football, and just rigged. I don't see it, because San Francisco is right up there with Philly with the market share. It's not like you're talking about the NBA championship when it was like the Suns versus whoever, when there was like the market was awful. Like they would have been happy with either.
Oh, we got a big super chat that I missed in here.
I saw that big 100 hit.
Shit. Yeah,
read that one. Address this.
No, we'll get to it at the end. It looks like it's the last one also. We're going to keep this thing moving here. We got 2 in a row from my man next, Poker Ace Jr. He says here, your wife gets in car accidents every year and 4 in 1 year. Tell me when you start blaming her.
What does this have to do with the price of tea in China?
Well, I think what he's saying is at some point you got to blame Kyle when you're losing all your quarterbacks. I think that's what he's saying. If your quarterback keeps going down, you got to start blaming the coach and not the.
First of all, as someone who watched that Atlanta Super Bowl and actually ended up getting a tattoo on my leg because of that Super Bowl, that was horrendous, kind of absurd. All right, but there's no opportunity anywhere for you to kind of put any kind of blame on Kyle Shanahan. When you are dealing with a situation where you have Johnson as your quarterback, and then you have to bring Purdy back in, who can't even throw the ball to the line of scrimmage. You saw it. Yeah. Even on those bubble screens, even on anything he did, he couldn't get that ball to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
He deserves
0%
of blame for this.
I have a real response. I have a perfect response for this, right? When I was young, guys, I first got my license. I thought I was the man. I got a ticket for doing 112 and a 55. I got a ticket for
reckless.
Yeah, I got a ticket for doing 45 and a 25, right? I got a ticket for improper passing. I failed the signal. But then there was this one time, I got a ticket for doing 45 and a 55. I repeat, I got a ticket for doing 45 and a 55. And when I went to court to fight this ticket, the judge said, and I quote, well, the officer thought you were going too fast for the weather conditions, so I'm going to side with the officer based off of your record. Sometimes the system is just not going to work in your favor. So your wife can get in as many car accidents as she wants, but that doesn't mean that sometimes there's not a recall. It doesn't mean that sometimes it's not the fault of the manufacturer. I'm not going to blame Kyle Shanahan for all these injuries happening to his quarterbacks. I'm sorry, I'm not. This is football. Football is the only sport in the world where there's a 100% injury guarantee.
A Poke Ace Jr., something is wrong in Denmark if 4 go down, bud. It might be Kyle, it might be the protection, but something's wrong with 4 quarterbacks going down or her wrecking that car 4 times. We got to have a couple of statements and a couple of talks in the what we call close-knit quarter fellowship. I'm agreeing with you.
You don't think that reflects the offensive line at all? I'm not trying.
Wait, no. And I'm gonna tell you why no. Wait, Chris, hold on, Chris. Hold on. You asked the question. Let me answer you. When Jimmy Garoppolo got injured in 2017, how did Jimmy get injured? He was well beyond the offensive line. Don't lie to me. Come on, Terradome. Come on, Steve.
He
He was
tore an
playing against
ACL.
Kansas
He
City.
did.
He was
tore an
playing against
ACL,
Kansas
Mike.
City. He was
He tore an
beyond the
ACL.
offensive line,
But we
and he
done
was
got
out of bounds when he got that injury, right?
He's saying wreck that car 4 times in a year
Uh,
in the pocket or near the pocket.
Well,
That's either play calling scheme or the talent that you're putting
Yeah,
out
but
there.
in that same year, we went through three quarterbacks. In that same year, we went through 3 quarterbacks.
We went
Was
through
it
3
on Kyle?
performance.
Was it on Kyle when Jimmy got hurt? Yes or no?
And Mike, it wasn't 2017 because that's when Jimmy got here and he won us the last 5 games.
So it was
he got the big contract 2018.
It was 2018, right? So then that year we went through 3 different quarterbacks. We had Jimmy, Beathard, and Mullins. Now y'all tell me, was Jimmy's injury the fault of Kyle Shanahan or the offensive line? Yes or no?
No, and I don't think Trey Lance's injury this year was the fault of Kyle Shanahan. You know, that's the risk you run when you have those kind of running quarterbacks. And you saw Hurts get hurt this year too.
Exactly. So that's what it is, man. It's football. It's a game.
Okay, keep on racking them. Go ahead.
Kyle is a great offensive coordinator, not a leader of men. His decision-making does not say leader. Agree or disagree? Let me hear from everybody. Terradome, agree or disagree?
Not the greatest leader of men I've ever seen.
All right, Steve, you up.
Well, I mean, a coach is a leader, right? And there's men out on the football field, right? They're not boys, right?
That's true.
I think this one is a hard one to put a blanket statement over. I mean, when you look at the fact that Kyle Shanahan is responsible of 2 of the 3 biggest comebacks in NFL history in the playoffs, that's a big it's a big demarcation on his.
That's not on Kyle. That's not on Kyle.
I think the Atlanta Super Bowl is 100% on him. The Atlanta Super Bowl
when he was with the Falcons, that defense, no one talks about it. That fucking defense let up those points, not Kyle Shanahan.
They were in field goal range, and they decided to pass and got.
They were not in field goal range. They were not in field goal range, Chris.
Well, Mike, look, I'm going to push back and tell you this. My wife, myself, and my daughter were in Miami, Florida back in 2020. We were up 10 points with 7 minutes left, averaging 6.1 yards a carry. We started going crazy with a pass-happy offense. Jimmy Garoppolo was 3 and out. You gave the greatest person in the world more opportunities to come back and put all the onus and the stress on a defense. And eventually they ran something called, I think it was 274 Wasp with one of the fastest players ever to play in the NFL.
Here you go.
It will happen. Your play calling matters when you got momentum. Your play calling matters when you got the lead. And I'm just saying, a couple of times we've seen him. Now, he has corrected it. He has corrected that. That's corrected that this year. This year, we saw him step on some necks with Brock Purdy. That's why I really love Brock Purdy.
If Jimmy hit Sanders
when we had the lead, I was there. I had to take that long ride home.
If Jimmy hit Sanders, are we having this conversation?
I think that this question is more.
Hold on, Kane. If Jimmy hit Sanders, are we having this conversation?
Don't
lie to me.
Well,
don't lie to me.
Possibly.
Is that on Kyle?
But you still giving Patrick Mahomes.
Why do y'all do this, bro?
Mike. You asked me the question. I'm going to answer you. You still giving Patrick Mahomes a minute and 14 left.
I think this question Sanders, that game is over, bro. Stop playing with me, man.
I think this question is more of an overreaction
to you sometimes, like trying to explain the color red to a blind man who's never seen before. You will stay there in that disposition, in that delusion, but I'm telling you what I saw.
This question is more of an overreaction to what happened tonight than anything else, and that's simple as that. Now, you can put aside the fact that he is responsible for the 2 largest comebacks in playoff history and all that stuff. But remember how you guys remember how it used to be the Belichick and the Andy Reid coaching tree? Do you guys remember that those years?
Yeah, that Belichick tree is sus. Yeah.
And now what is it now? It's the Shanahan. It's the Shanahan tree, right?
It's
And
some
the
good.
McVay
Yeah.
tree. You know,
Shanahan and Reed, yeah.
the LaFleurs, you know, all those guys.
McVay.
I think that question is more of an overreaction to what happened tonight than it is of his body of work. I really do.
Did he break that up? Oh, he caught that. Holy shit. He caught that.
Shit.
Oh, what a catch.
Oh, shit.
What a catch. Wow.
Well, obviously, a great catch has happened. Y'all can tell me in the chat, but
all right. Here we go. Zero Sama says here, guys, this game was over when we lost Brock. I agree. The Christian McCaffrey touchdown brought a spark, and the defense gave us the ball back in the first half like 3 times, but we couldn't do anything. We got dealt a bad hand. Zero, I'm going to tell you right now, you were absolutely right. We got lucky to get that touchdown because on that same exact play, Christian McCaffrey broke 4 tackles. It looked like somebody playing Madden on rookie mode.
Let me shout out Christian McCaffrey, man.
Come on.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
Christian McCaffrey looks like one of those, I'm down here at Fort Bragg, man, but he looks like a daggone Marine captain. That guy is serious. That guy's serious about life. You can see him at the press conference. That guy's serious about life, and he gave heart and soul today. Thank you, Christian McCaffrey. I'm glad you're on the team, and we're gonna push the money aside with Brock Purdy only making $900,000 a year. We got money to keep you around, young man. We want you here.
And he fits that system perfectly. Zone read defense. The one hole hit cut. He fits it perfectly.
Cut like a
Lewis says here, we lost because of the Purdy freak injury. I've had the injury. I've had that injury. No way he could throw. Fire nobody. This is just football. We overachieved. Be proud. Now, can
I be the first one to jump in on this, please?
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
I have a feeling on this. All right. I'm tired. I don't credit to everybody. I don't understand the freak injury. That injury was because of the quality pressure that the Eagles put on anybody they play.
Let me explain. Let me explain what he's saying by freak injury. If that helmet wasn't in the exact spot that it was in, it hit like where the funny bone is, and it caused nerve damage. That's why he couldn't feel his fingers. If it wasn't in that exact spot at that exact angle, it wouldn't have. It would have just been an elbow bump or a contusion, which is a fancy word for a bruise. However, the exact spot where it hit, that angle, that's the freak part of it. So I understand what he's saying. I just want to put that out there.
I understand the freak part of it, but I feel like that's more of a detraction of giving credit to what the Eagles defensive line did as a whole. And that's the problem I have. And it's not a major beef because it is what it is. But I don't think that you can call it a freak injury because that Eagles defensive line was out for blood and they took blood.
They're good. You got a good defensive line, man. I can't say nothing. I've been wanting us to be. If our defensive lines were singing groups this year, I said a few weeks ago, we're Huey Lewis in the news because we got Bosa and our other guys. But you guys was coming like Nate, Mike, Sean, and Juan, man. Everybody can sing parts. Double-digit sackers up front with Hassan with 16, which is 0.5 away from Nick Bosa. They just collectively rush the passer quantifiably all together, collectively. But as a whole, my defense, I don't take anything over my linebackers who are the best in the world. Trevarius Ward is the straw that stirs this drink. I begged for a corner. He got me a corner. Talanoa Hufanga is a playmaker, and Gibson did an outstanding job. We had a wonderful safety playing the nickel. So we were in big nickel all year long. Jimmy Ward playmaking too. He had some problems with some quicker guys sometimes. But man, when I saw Greenlaw covering Tariq Hill on a shallow cross, I knew we had fire, man.
You guys have been blessed at linebacker. I will give you that. Who's the guy you had in between
Aerodome.
Navarro and
Hold on. Wait.
Fred Warner.
Wait, Chris, get your thought off. But hold on 1 second. Aerodome, read the private chat. Chris, get your thought off, okay?
Who you guys really have? You've been blessed at linebacker. Who is the one that was in between Navarro Bowman and the one you got now? Not Green, Fred Warner. You guys have been blessed at linebacker.
His name is El Shair.
You guys have been blessed at linebacker for a very long time.
They're a collective, man. They bad.
Oh,
they
absolutely. Because Navarro Bowman, he's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I love those.
we had him
and Falcons jersey. I love those.
I love Hawk.
Gritty.
I love Hawk, man. Hawk's my guy.
I love the gritty.
Hawk is my guy. Yeah, I go way back with y'all, man. I love the Minister of Defense, Reggie White, and I'm a big Miami Hurricane fan. So y'all had Jerome Brown back in the day.
Jeremiah Trotter.
Oh yeah, y'all were loaded. Y'all were loaded. But we used to come see you, and we were winning chips there. So I could admire you from afar. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Mike wanted me to read this next chat, but I think we covered it. We lost because of Purdy's freak injury. I've had that injury. No way could you throw the ball, fire nobody. This is just football. We overachieved. Be proud. It was a tough injury. He was over there trying to grip the ball. He couldn't feel his fingers. I'm hoping it does not require surgery. I just see Greg in the chat saying same surgery MLB players get. Oh, Troy, no. Troy, no. Hey, Troy, it's all about the you. I see you with that go nose. Screw Miami. Come on, man. How you gonna say screw me? They gave us Frank Gore. They gave the 2001. You will announce it right now, Troy. No, you great man. You know you my friend, but hey, the 2001 Miami Hurricanes was the greatest college football team ever assembled. Go back and look at that. Go back and look at that roster, young man.
Ready? You ready for this?
Talk to me.
It's gonna take me a second to find this. Give me 1 second. I got it. It's the Alabama. I think it was 2018.
No, Chris.
Listen to this.
No. All right, you go ahead, pull yours up. I'll pull mine, and we'll meet God in the middle.
You're gonna freak when you hear this. I'm telling you.
You're gonna freak when I run mine down.
Hold on.
All right.
What are y'all looking up?
Who had the greatest football roster in college football history?
Oh, it's Miami. Don't play with
me.
Don't play with me. Come on. We don't have to do this. We don't have to do this. Frank Gore, Willis McGahee. But, bro, that roster was fucking loaded. Chris, don't waste your time, bro. Chris, don't waste your time.
Chris, Chris, leave it alone, Chris.
Wide receivers on the team.
Chris, leave it alone. Leave it alone.
No,
leave it alone.
This is one of the stubborn Eagles.
I was loaded, Chris.
You got that roster pulled up over there?
You know I do. I'm ready. I'm ready to shoot.
While I try to find
run it down while he's looking.
While you are looking, the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. Now, think of this now.
That's the one.
On one team, we had at running back Willis McGahee. We had Najee Davenport. At wide receiver, Andre Johnson. We had at quarterback, Ken Dorsey. We had backing up Willis McGahee was Clinton Portis.
And then after him
was Frank Gore.
And
then when we didn't use them, coming off the bench was Jared Payton, son of Walter Payton. We had Jaquez Gonzalez. We had Mike Rump. We had DJ Williams. At safety, we had Ed Reed. At linebackers, we had Jonathan Vilma.
Yes, sir.
And let me go to my tight ends. My tight ends. Check this out. At tight end, Kellen Winslow.
Oh my!
Kellen Winslow. And another tight end, and his backup was Jeremy Shockey.
Come on, bro. That was a badass team, bro. That Miami team, bar none, the best in the
Y'all
Come on,
talk
bro.
to me.
NCAA, that was the best one in the NCAA.
It has always been, will always be
that
all
team
about
is no
the
joke,
you.
bro. It's all about the you right there, man. And hey, I'm an Ohio State fan, bro. That was the team right there. Come on.
That
Right,
thing
listen
was
to this.
loaded.
Just listen.
All right.
2018 Alabama. Damian Harris, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, Tua, Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones, Judy, Ruggs, Waddle, Devontae Smith, and Irv Smith Jr.
Did you hear me tell you what my safeties were? Did you hear me tell you about Ed Reed? I got guys wearing gold jackets.
I respect what he said, but here's where you lose this argument, Chris. I respect what you said. You named a backup quarterback. He wasn't getting out there though, and so the rotation of the guys for Miami was just too deep, man. That team was just something special, man. And listen, I'm not saying that because that's where Frank Gore came from. I'm saying it because that team was just freaking stacked, bro.
Offensive tackle Bryant Mount McKinney, and on defensive tackle Vince Wolford.
That is crazy. That team was freaking loaded, bro. That team right there might have 6 Hall of Famers on it. NFL Hall of Famers, bro.
That's one of Rick Smith gold jacket wearing.
Yes. Now I will say that as far as wide receivers go, the team that Chris named has got the better wide receivers.
They had some speed.
I'll give that to them. They were loaded.
Andre Johnson was my dude, though, man.
Yes.
That dude was tough as a $2 steak.
Dude, Alabama, the way they create wide receivers.
Oh, yeah, they're doing something different down there.
All right, we on to the next comment here. We're going to keep it moving. Sean Shepard says, forget that. F the bagels. He's talking about the Eagles. All right, because cream cheese, bagels, Philly cream cheese. Okay. The game was a bunch of junk. This game was fixed. We would have won with Purdy. Philly was crap. It's emotions.
I know, Sean. Sean, and all the 49er faithful, I try not to beat Cowboys, man. You know, the first ones calling me after when it got out of hand, you know who was calling me? It wasn't Eagles fans.
Cowboys fans.
It wasn't it was Cowboy fans talking about I told you y'all was gonna lose. I hate y'all. Yeah, that's why y'all lost. I'm not a troll. I can't troll, man.
Listen,
on my day.
The game was not fixed. All right. I would have loved to see Purdy out there. I would have loved to see a better game. All right.
Yeah.
But that's not the way the chips fell. And even take that away. This is what I was trying to explain to people. Take that away. When teams are that evenly matched, if it would come down to quarterback play. And I just don't understand how all these people were on Purdy over Hurts. It's about those plays when you need them. And you've seen Hurts grow up in that. Someone I heard on the 97.5 The Fanatic, the local Philadelphia station. You know what they called him? And I thought was a great comparison. They called him the Nick Saban on the field player.
Okay.
The nothing gets to him, son of a coach. You know, that's what Philly instills and loves about him is, I forget when it was, when they were 10-0 or 11-0, and he comes out to the press conference and it's, well, you know, you guys got a lot to be happy about. And his first response was, job ain't done. Job ain't done. And then, and then the coach, Sirianni, he always preached, you know what he preached? Hungry dogs run fast, right? Hurts got up in front of the team. He said, I'm not hungry. He said, I'm starving. Like that kind of attitude is why Hurts, you know, those Hurts, the Embiid, the Bryce Harpers, like those guys are so embraced in Philadelphia is because they understand the moment And even with all the ridicule that comes along with Philadelphia, they're able to produce in that moment. And to say that it was fixed is a little bit out there. Did you guys do a tremendous job controlling Hurts and playing disciplined? Yes, you did. I will be the first to admit that. But it's those one or two plays that made the difference. And I think that Hurts showed that he's not impacted by those moments.
I got to give you your flowers. Hey, you won the game, and it was fair and square. We rode what we had out there. But man, this kid I got, history will go down and say this is the greatest rookie season for a quarterback there has ever been.
I'd be extremely happy if I was
game away from getting to the Super Bowl.
That's not true. Still,
he has
still
done.
not true.
Yes, it is. You were mistaken. You were mistaken, Mike. You were mistaken. That was not. That was not. Listen, Mike. Mike. Listen. Look at me. That was not Dan Marino's rookie year when he went to the Super Bowl.
I'm not talking about Dan Marino.
Go ahead.
I'm not talking about Dan. The greatest rookie year we've ever seen before was Ben Roethlisberger. And there's not a close second, bro. Ben Roethlisberger ran off like 11, 12 games in a row as a starter. Ben Roethlisberger. I like what Brock Purdy did, but we got to be real. And fuck that rapist Ben Roethlisberger. That's what I stand on. But Ben Roethlisberger had a far more impressive rookie season than Brock Purdy did. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you it was Ben Roethlisberger, bro. What
was Ben Roethlisberger's passer rating that year?
I don't have those numbers. I'm sorry.
When you get them, let me know.
He was able to be successful because of his size and his ability that cornerbacks couldn't cover in
the defense.
You know, like there was, he had a great similar defense. To like a Gronk, you know, where it was just pure athleticism. Like he didn't have to study the game. He didn't have to do anything. He was just blessed with the talent to go out there and be better than you. And that's where I get Ben Roethlisberger. Whereas Purdy being the Mr. Irrelevant, being that last pick in the draft, and you've seen it with the showing of Tony Romo being an announcer. Like those, they always say that like those guys who are like blessed with the talent. Singletary was a horrible coach because those guys are just blessed with talent. Like they don't know how to explain it. You know, when you're one of those middling guys that needs to prove and work and do those extra things to make you that much better, it helps. And I think that's where Purdy has the advantage. And I'd be completely happy going in next season.
Ben Roethlisberger went 17 touchdowns and 11 interceptions.
So
Brock Purdy has considerably less interceptions and did not put his team in harm's way more than Brock Purdy. And he only had one loss.
That's the interception record for most interceptions as a rookie. Peyton Manning did.
Yeah.
How did his career come out? How did his career come out?
Very good. But I'm just saying, for a rookie quarterback to jump in here and be above 100 as a passer rating has never been done in the history of the NFL. Ben Roethlisberger was 98.1.
And give Shanahan credit for that. Shanahan deserves those flowers. Because I guarantee you, look up what's his average depth of target. I guarantee you it's under 8 yards. He relies on the Deebo Samuel yards after catch. He relies on the Christian McCaffrey yards after catch. I guarantee you that his average depth of target is not anywhere near any one of those quarterbacks. But that's not a knock on Purdy, and it's not a disrespect to Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has shown that he doesn't need to play for the quarterback.
We've been here. We had a rookie quarterback who was drafted number 3 or number 2 overall. We traded him away. He was there, and he did not perform like this. It's not just Shanahan.
Yeah, but
we've had the guy.
Asymmetry. I see your comment, and so did Brock Purdy, bro.
A manager. He's one of those Kirk Cousins. He'll never lose you a game, but he will also never win you a game.
Who? Brock Purdy?
Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins. They're all on that same
No. Brock
They
Purdy
will
is a
never- They will never
playmaker.
lose you a game, but they will
Y'all ain't
never
looking
win you
no
a game.
film. That's the difference with Brock Purdy. No, the game manager was Jimmy G. Brock Purdy took this offense from 23.2 to 34 points a game.
And look up the yards after catch.
As JC said, mother lovers think I'm foolish. I only talk about Jews. Do you fools listen to music or do you just skim through it?
But what does the yards after catch have to influence with that? Okay, they set Purdy up in a system, and that is all flowers to Kyle Shanahan. Where
Wait, Chris.
Off of a yards after
Well,
catch
I tell you what, we put
I got him.
We put the number one pick. We put the
I got
number
him,
one pick in the
Pterodome.
same offense last year, and he didn't do what
Pterodome.
Brock Purdy did.
I got him, Pterodome. Here's the difference, Chris. Quarterbacks can only do what they're asked to do. Jimmy Garoppolo, an 8-year vet, didn't look as good as Brock Purdy did. All right. So
I agree.
The difference is executing in the offense in which the plays are called. You can't go out there and overcome a system if the system's not broken. So they asked Brock Purdy to do certain things, and he did it. The yards after the catch and all that are a byproduct of executing well in that system. So I'm not taking away from Brock.
Chris, have you ever seen Brock Purdy extend a play? Do you know his extension of a play was about to be legendary, and he hit the receiver in the court, Brandon Ayuk, in the corner of the end zone, and I think it was a playoff game, and it was one of the most beautiful. It was the Seahawks game. It was the Seahawks. Dude, his incompletions are beautiful.
Listen.
All right. Let's keep it moving. All
right, go ahead.
Keep it moving. Pete,
I'm just the only one with like. I'm
great
the only one with
season, NFC Championship with rookie quarterback. Can't wait for next year. Hopefully a rematch with the Eagles at NFC Championship at Levi's. I will say this right now. The Eagles will not make it to the NFC Championship next season, regardless of how this plays out. I saw your face, Chris. I understand what you're saying, but the Eagles are going to lose a lot of key pieces this offseason. Niners are going to lose a couple, but not as many as the Eagles.
McGlinchey.
And the Eagles don't have as many draft picks as the 49ers. We're going to rebuild. We're going to replenish. The Niners are going to be here. And
The Eagles are the number one team in the NFC and have the 10th overall pick in the NFL. Okay. Their free agents consist of Miles Sanders. I think it's CJ Gardner-Johnson. It's one of their defensive linemen. And that's about it. They have.
And Chris, I'll tell you this. The biggest indicator I knew of the success would be for the Philadelphia Eagles this year, and you could go back and look at it. I look at Pro Football Focus, and they rank offensive lines, and y'all were number one by far at Pro Football Focus and a few other publications. I said that is where the trouble is going to be. The offensive line is the engine of the car that is offense.
Well,
you can make it as pretty as you want. You can have a Bugatti shell. You can make a nice steering column. You can make all of this good stuff and get the moon roof of the receivers, and you can put spinning rims on it all you want. But if it does not have a V12 engine shooting nitrous oxide when you need it, if it does not have 2 or 3 all pros, you deal it. You're going to kick up
from the trenches out. Offensive line, defensive line out. Okay. Now I understand the parity in the NFC East where you've never had the back-to-back winners or whatever like that. But Hurts is not due for a contract until after next year. You've got Brown long term. Devontae Smith is still a year and a half out. I'm telling you, their only big name free agents right now are Miles Sanders, CJ Gardner-Johnson, and I think Kelsey might be one. And
Lane Johnson's getting up there too. He's somewhere towards the end also.
And I thought he was hurt a little bit. Did he have a growing injury coming in?
And allowed 0 sacks.
I will say this though. I will say this.
Sayamalu Admit it. Salem Alu on the Eagles offensive line would be your second starter behind Trent Williams on your defensive line.
The
That would be where
49ers,
our line is.
the 49ers have 11 draft picks. The Eagles have 6. I'm just saying that
we finished in the top. We finished as the number 1 overall seed, and we have the 10th overall pick from the Saints.
Future's bright.
All right.
I think we'll be back. We'll be back next year. Did you miss that one prior to, Mike? Don't miss that one.
I think you guys have a great opportunity.
I'm saving the big one for the end.
Okay.
All right. Delvin says here, my grandmother said the number 1 team is there for entertainment purposes only. They will never win it all. That's the business, period. I'm not quite sure what this means. Are they saying the Eagles won't win it? Like what exactly are they saying? If the Chiefs win,
even if you think it's rigged, you're telling me that the NFL wouldn't be happier with the Eagles winning it over Kansas City or Cincinnati? Like, even if it's rigged,
even if the NFL,
like you're telling me that the NFL wouldn't be the happiest with a team like the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, one of the biggest teams in the country.
The one thing I question is everybody saying a rookie quarterback has never gone to the Super Bowl, and I felt like, man, they didn't talk to us. They didn't reach out to us because I know in my heart of hearts, Brock Purdy has the capability of going. He's knocked down every obstacle.
It's one of those cherry pick.
Well, he didn't get there, Terradome. He didn't get there, bro.
It's one of those cherry pick stats. I had this
You're
argument with my
right.
buddy.
I guess just by being a rookie, you wake up one morning as a rookie and you just go, "Oh, I can't do that."
I had my argument with one of my boys who's not a Philly fan earlier, and it was the same thing. It was because they threw the batteries at Santa and they did this. It was every single Eagle fan is a bad Eagle fan, and that's not the way it is. Okay, you can't put this umbrella statement. You can't put this umbrella statement over a fan base like that.
No.
Okay, and it's the same thing here. Like you're telling me that I love Kansas City and I love Cincinnati. But you're telling me that as a whole, the NFL wouldn't want Philly, one of the top markets in the country, to win the Super Bowl? To say that it's rigged is like, it's almost asinine,
Because you won it before. You won it in 2018.
2017, and Nick Foles was touched by God. Touched by God.
And I felt the same way about my man.
Listen.
He prayed
what
on
he
it.
did and take that ball from Grace is unbelievable. And if I told you going into that Super Bowl that Tom Brady would set the record for passing yards in the first half and lose the Super Bowl, you'd laugh me out of this town.
Yep.
All the storylines out there. Of all the storylines out there, you guys can't tell me the NFL would not be happy to see Andy Reid against his former team, the Eagles, in the Super Bowl.
Whoa, Mike dropping it.
They're going to be happy with whatever storyline comes from it.
Mike dropped it. Yeah.
Now this is the biggest one here. Save this one for last. Apollo, thank you for the super chat. Apollo says, now that the season is over, next year, if I'm Kyle, Trey is a starter going into camp. Spent too much time on that not to be the case. And if Brock is that dude, Brock beats him out. In my opinion, Trey got that dog and work ethic and size. That is just different. And I completely 100% agree with what Apollo was saying here. I understand all the 49er fans saying, oh, my God, Brock Purdy is the guy. Look at what he's out there doing. But you guys got to remember one thing. Brock Purdy didn't give us anything that Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't give us. Trey Lance.
What did Trey Lance give you?
Mike, the offensive production went from 23 points to 33 points a game.
The only reason
Trey Lance, I'm gonna be real. Trey Lance is gonna be on the bench, man. If you make this a true competition, it ain't a competition.
Is because of the capital they gave up for him. That's the only reason he will sniff that starting job, is because of the capital they gave up for him. The fact that Purdy doesn't have the advantage going into next season as that starter is unbelievable.
I can tell by the way Kyle calls a game, man. His first game, Trey Lance's first game as a starter in a rookie year, he ran high school plays against Arizona, and he could have got cracked up that game. Kyle trusts immensely Brock Purdy. He ran the offense. Hey, here go another thing. Look, Jimmy G's first game as a starter. Do you know Kyle didn't run the ball? Kyle didn't pass the ball, but 8 times. Does anybody remember that? And that was against the Vikings. And then the next game against the Packers, I think maybe it was 15 times. That's how much he trusted Jimmy Garoppolo. Tell me, what that playbook? That playbook was all the way open.
I don't know why you're talking
as
about.
soon as he came in there.
I don't know why you're talking about Garoppolo when this is the Trey and Brock comment.
First of all, Garoppolo's
Trey has not made a playoff game. Trey has not put together a string of victories his rookie year. Trey, his aesthetic in throwing the ball is kind of acquired and kind of not accurate. Everybody hated the kid.
Trey Lance.
They didn't want him, Mike. They don't want him.
Has the same amount of losses this season as Brock Purdy does.
No, he does not.
Yes, he does.
At the end of the fact, Garoppolo's gone. All right, Garoppolo's gone.
How many wins as a starter does Trey Lance have?
I think that
what's Trey Lance's passer rating? What's his percentage?
There's the advantage going into the offseason. I really do. Trey Lance hasn't shown you shit. But here's the problem, and I'll tell you what the problem is the over infatuation with the what you give up for that pick. And what they gave up to Trey Lance was they
gave up the farm for him. So he's got to
mortgage
work.
the farm to get Trey Lance. And because of that, he will get an unfair advantage of being able to be the starter over Purdy.
That's all it is. That's all it is. We traded up to get him. Well, we didn't even have to do that because he would have fell to us at 11. We were at 11. He was the next to Fields. We would have still had the opportunity to get him, and we didn't even have to do that. We didn't have to do that. And they thought initially he was going to go with Mac Jones.
But you've seen it. These teams, they go all out.
We're in love with picks. We're in love with where you get picked. We're in love with the infatuation of where you went to school, but you're not looking at the substance of something. You're in love with the label, but you're missing who's able. That's the problem.
Both of these guys.
It can be the 7th round pick. It can be the 6th round pick, 199. That was Tom Brady. It can be the 9th round pick, Johnny Unitas. They get it wrong. They just get it wrong.
Louder doesn't make you right. Both of these guys are small school guys.
I'm not loud. I'm being passionate. I'm being very passionate.
You're not listening. You're not
okay.
Listening.
Mike, I got a question for you. Let's be honest, right? How many games did Trey Lance start this year? 5?
2.
He only started 2?
2.
Okay, so then that's an unfair sample size to compare the two of them. But
and they both have the same amount of losses.
I can't understand a reason going into next season that you say that Purdy doesn't at least.
How many more wins? How many wins do they have, Mike? Stop looking at the losses. Stop looking at flaws. Just because you're flawed or just because you fall does not mean that it's fatal, and that does not mean that it's final. You're trolling. You're trying to troll and substantiate an argument, which is at best soliloquial.
Wins is a skewed stat. Look who's up there in top wins of their.
But you came up for Witherspoon and Asai McGlinchey,
Phillip Rivers,
guys who can't even. And McGlinchey can't play dead in a way.
You're deflecting. I'm not talking about McGlinchey. I'm not talking about Witherspoon. I'm talking about our quarterback.
And he was a first-round pick from a prestigious university called Notre Dame.
You are deflecting, Terradome.
A 6th-round pick. I'll take a Kittle. I will take a Richard Sherman. I will take a Cam Chancellor. It doesn't matter where you pick, Mike. It don't matter where you picked. Stop thinking about where you picked.
Terradome,
go ahead.
You are deflecting, sir. You are bringing up all these other players that I talk about on this show on a regular basis. This question is specifically about Brock versus Lance. And what I'm telling you is that Lance physically does more than what Brock Purdy does. That's not up for
You
debate.
are out of your
Stop it.
mind.
This is not a Mike opinion.
Why? Because he's kind of slow,
You
Mike.
gotta let me finish. You gotta let me finish.
Go ahead.
You gotta let me finish.
Go
You
ahead.
gotta let me finish.
Go ahead.
Brock Purdy doesn't do physically what Trey Lance can do. That's not my opinion. Look at the play calls when one guy is in, and look at the play calls when another guy is in. That's not my opinion. I'm not saying
he calls run plays, Mike.
Yeah, but
Trey
that's like
Lance,
trying
he calls
to compare
glorified-
Tom Brady to a Jalen Hurts.
He
It's unfair.
It's
unfair.
He calls a Colin Kaepernick, Lamar Jackson play call sheet for Trey Lance.
You have no idea what the play calls would have looked like.
Yes, I do. We saw him in Texas.
No,
we saw him against the Texans. We saw him in Arizona.
You're not listening to me, bro.
Go ahead.
You have no idea what this offense would have looked like with Trey Lance and Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk. We have literally never seen it. You have no idea what kind of play calls Kyle Shanahan would have been dialing up. However, what you do know is there were more downfield throws with Trey Lance under center. That is not Mike's opinion. That is a fact. There is a reason why in this season they thought Trey Lance was going to be the starter, that they went out and drafted a guy like Danny Gray. Meanwhile, Danny Gray couldn't get playing time with a guy like Brock Purdy or Jimmy Garoppolo in there. This is not my opinion. What I'm telling you is that Kyle Shanahan has a different vision for this offense with Trey Lance under center than he does with Brock Purdy or Jimmy Garoppolo. You can sit here and talk to me about wins. You can talk to me about all that stuff. I hear you.
It's unfair to compare
it is systematically different with one guy under center than the other. That's all I'm telling you.
It's unfair to compare the two because of how short of the leash that Trey Lance was given because of the injury versus what Purdy was given. But at the same time, I firmly believe that going into next season, I don't see a problem with Kyle Shanahan coming out and saying that Purdy has every opportunity to win this job from Trey Lance. I don't.
Okay, Trey
Hey,
got
look,
a cannon.
I tell you what, man.
You know what, Mike?
We can debate till we're blue in
You
the
right.
face.
No, you're right. You're right. Trey Lance is going to take us to the promised land. You're right.
We can debate.
No, listen, it's unfair.
No,
it's unfair.
I'm wrong.
No,
you guys
wrong.
are right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
We're not trying to say who's right or wrong,
Trey Lance is
completely
everything,
unfair.
and he's way better than Brock Purdy. Yeah, you're
Not.
right.
It's
For that,
unfair.
we should just go ahead and trade Brock Purdy away. We don't need that.
It's unfair.
No.
It's unfair
No,
that the shakes that these top first round picks get compared to everybody else.
Yep.
And
they get every shake.
I agree with you on that sense.
Every shake, every opportunity, and they are going to be spoon-fed to win, spoon-fed to win. And you're right. He's going to get the opportunity. It's going to be all on it. He better work out.
A guy like Purdy.
He better work out.
I understand it. But you, as Kyle Shanahan, if I was him going into next season, my opinion would be the starting job is up for grabs. It's up for grabs. It's a QB competition.
No. Hey, Chris, it ain't up for
And
grabs,
very
man.
well-
Because
that very well may be the
Trey
case.
Lance can throw that ball 60 or 70 yards downfield. He got a big arm, and he fast, and he's smart, and he enveloped
Everything
the
that
whole
Purdy is.
playbook. He got it all. He's got everything we're looking for. Heck, I think he's undefeated. Okay, got you.
He's not. He's 1-1. But that very well may be the case, Chris. It might be an open competition, right? But what's going to happen is in preseason, in practice, in the offseason, OTAs, and things like that, what they're going to see is what one guy brings to the table that the other guy doesn't, and what they think is correctable in the flaws of one guy from the other. What you can't do, what you can't teach, what you can't train is athleticism. What you can't teach and train is the arm strength and the ability to go down the field. There's a reason that they traded up and then acquired Trey Lance. And you can tell me I'm falling in love with where somebody was drafted. Maybe I'm victim to that. I will tell you guys that, fine. Maybe that's why I feel the way that I do. However, what I do know is this. Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy are very similar except for one thing, and that's decision making. Brock Purdy is head and shoulders above Jimmy Garoppolo with decision making, but
And
not
decision making doesn't matter playing quarterback.
Hold on, hear me out, but not ability. And Kyle Shanahan went out there and said, when he described his perfect quarterback, I want a guy that can run like Lamar Jackson, and I want a guy that can throw like Drew Brees. Now, you tell me which one of those two quarterbacks fit that description. This is not Mike's opinion.
Look
This is
at the
Kyle
percentage of accuracy from Brock Purdy.
Okay.
You will announce it right
Yeah,
now
but
where you stand. I
don't-
talked to Tom House. I study the aesthetic of quarterbacks. That kid has one of the most flawless aesthetics next to Drew Brees. That's my comparison to how he's releasing the ball. That's how I know how good he's releasing it.
So Trey Lance got a fair shake at the starting job, is what you're saying.
It was his.
Has he
it
gotten
to
a
him.
fair shake? Has he gotten a fair shake?
Chris, here's the thing. They gave it to Trey Lance.
And how many games did he get to start?
Brock Purdy took it.
How many games did Trey Lance get to
Brock
start?
Purdy didn't take it. Brock Purdy
How
didn't
many
take
games
it.
did
Brock
Trey
Purdy
Lance
got
get to
injured.
start though?
2.
Exactly. It's not a fair shake.
Exactly.
If he was that good, Mike, if he was that good,
Not a fair
he
shake.
would have taken it the moment Jimmy G went down.
He took
Remember
it.
your history. Remember your history. The moment Jimmy G went down and he was in Arizona, he would have went in there, threw for 200 or 300 yards, and Jimmy would not have seen the light of day.
When Jimmy G went down, Trey Lance came in. The Niners were ready to name him the starter against the Indianapolis Colts, but he had a shoulder injury, and they had to go back to Jimmy Garoppolo. Don't argue with me about this. Go look it up before
No.
Fix
It was Arizona.
All right.
He played.
All right.
His first start was against Arizona, Mike.
I didn't say it wasn't. I didn't say it
Everybody
wasn't.
in the chat, please tell me who was Trey Lance's first start against.
You are not listening. You're not listening to anything
his
I'm
rookie
saying.
year. His rookie year. Can
Terradome.
somebody do it? I got the chat up. Just for me.
Terradome,
Maybe
can you
I'm
listen?
wrong. Go ahead.
Can you listen
Purdy
to what I'm
deserves
saying?
every shot at the starting
there.
opportunity, but Trey Lance has not gotten a fair shake. Trey
You guys
Lance
aren't listening.
deserves every opportunity.
You guys aren't listening to what I'm saying. I'm not talking about his first start. I said after his first start, they were ready to name him the starter going into the game against the Colts. That was the game after. But Jimmy was healthy and he hurt his shoulder in that game against Arizona, and they had to revert back to Jimmy, is what I said. I didn't say anything about his first start, Terradome. You're not listening to what I'm saying, bro. You got to hear what I'm saying. After his first start, the team was ready to rock.
What did he do in his first start?
Trey Lance deserves.
What did he
every
do in his second start, Mike?
He deserves every. Mike is right. He deserves every opportunity to be the starter. He
And
absolutely does.
He
cannot-
has.
First of all, and then again, I'll bring up the DVOA stats, bro. I'll bring up
Bring them, please. Bring them up. Bring them up.
Stop.
I will
How
DVOA with Brock Purdy more than anybody else in the world.
We got to wrap this up. I got to go eat, and my wife is calling me upstairs. We got 3 more comments that we got to get to. This one here is from Gerald. He says here, what are the key pieces that we are going to possibly lose next season? We will get to that, but the Niners are going to lose a couple of guys in free agency, and it's going to be some big names on there too. Mike McGlinchey, the right tackle, being one of them. Forget Mike McGlinchey for a second. A starting offensive lineman is scheduled to be a free agent. I think that is the biggest need. They have to find a way to rectify out of the gate. Terradome, do you have another option there for 49ers free agents going into next season?
Mike McGlinchey is welcome to walk on out that door. I am sure I can find somebody better than Mike McGlinchey. Jimmy Garoppolo is free to walk away.
I got a list. There's Jimmy Ward, Jimmy Garoppolo, Samson Ebukam, Emmanuel Mosley, Mike McGlinchey, Azeez Al-Shaair, Robbie Gould, Daniel Brunskill, Hassan Ridgeway, Kerry Hyder, Tyler Croft, Maurice Hurst, Tyshawn Gibson, Josh Johnson, Jordan Willis, Tabor Pepper, Ross Dwelly, Jake Brindle, Jason Verrett, Demetrius Fowles, Kevin Givens, Colton McKivitz, Tavarius Moore, Charles Omenihu, and Jawan Jennings. Those are the guys that are slated to be free agents next season.
What do you
Keep
think about
Jawan Jennings? Keep Jawan Jennings. McKivitz can go.
Are you okay with
McGlinchey can
Purdy and Lance as your
Purdy,
two quarterbacks?
Garoppolo can go.
For sure, and that's the thing that I think most people are missing with what you just asked, Chris. You want both of those guys in your quarterbacks room. It doesn't matter which one gets to start. You want both
Garoppolo's
of them.
out the door, and you know he's going
Right.
to get overpaid for wherever he goes.
Right. Yep.
So
you want
as long
both.
as you're
of those
okay
guys.
going in next year with Lance and Purdy, that's a reasonable answer.
That's fine.
That's it right there. Randolph says here a lot of people got caught in the Purdy hype. He is a game manager with a lot of playmakers around him. Randolph, I agree, but some people don't, and that's okay. That is okay for us to disagree on what makes someone good and what doesn't.
Saw it today. We put a game manager in there after Purdy got hurt, and it looked horrible. You can't just put anybody back there.
We didn't put a game manager in there.
We had all the playmakers there, right?
Terradome.
We're calling him a game manager and he was putting
Josh
34
Johnson was not. Josh Johnson.
Anybody in there. You can throw anybody in there, and they're going to have success with all these weapons, right?
Name one person.
What happened when you put that back up in there today?
Name one person on this panel that said you could put anybody in there. None of us have said that because we're more intelligent.
Some game manager, a decent quarterback can just play in this system, and they're going to have huge success because Kyle Shanahan is the dude. Dude, we had the greatest game manager. Alex Smith probably was, but Jimmy Garoppolo in there, and we were at 23 points a game, and now we increase up to 33 to 35 points a game, and y'all going to tell me that it was just all of these other pieces. It was this, it was that, and biblically, it's
funny how you guys were saying this last weekend when Purdy was putting at 34 points a game. He's the best quarterback ever. Whatever. Listen,
Josh Johnson is not.
You have a system set up. You have a system set up.
I'm still riding with the Brock Thomas prime. My future is bright. My future is bright.
Run wild.
My face
I can't hear y'all talking at the same time. I can't hear y'all talking at the same time. But here's what I will say. I got this one right. Josh Johnson is not a game manager. Brock Purdy is a game manager with a little more ability than a standard game manager. I will give him that 100%. Josh Johnson is not that. Josh Johnson is a placeholder, not a game manager. And there was a big difference. That's somebody with the two initials next to his name that let you know what position he's lined up to play. He is not a good quarterback in the NFL. He was just here on the roster.
I don't think Purdy's a game manager either because let's be honest, like before this game happened, 49ers fans were saying, 34 points a game. This guy can chuck
right.
it. He can do whatever.
He's better. He's better than a game manager.
Him making completions within 5 yards and Deebo Samuel taking the ball 50 yards plus. Okay,
he is better than a game manager. Absolutely,
that's fine.
He's better than a game manager.
Really, and it's not a knock on him yet, but he hasn't been in enough games to show it yet. Purdy is in that Garoppolo field where he's not going to lose you a game, but he also hasn't shown you the potential to win you a game.
Well, he's come back from behind in 2 different games of his 8 starts or 9 starts. So, that's where we are. Sean Shepard has the last super chat of the evening here, and he says, hope your team loses. He's talking to you, Chris. Bad, period. F the Bagels. So he's
why we were the number 1
Eagles.
overall seed. That's why Jalen Hurts is 16-1 as a starter. That's why we have the most sacks in the NFL. Like, stop it. I will be the first to admit that the Niners have a great team, and I would have loved to face Purdy the entire game. I would have loved to face it. But you can't sit here and say that we have a bad team. Stop it. Stop it.
That's where we are, guys.
Somebody in the background needs some Zyrtec.
That's going to do it for us tonight, guys.
Who's sneezing?
Thank you all for checking us out tonight, rocking with us for 3 hours. You guys have been phenomenal. We're going to get on out of here. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always
remain faithful.
We out of here, guys.
Thank you for having me.
We all gas, no brakes, pumped up, no fakes. We spinning, we winning, we high stakes. We never miss, we all makes. Look at us dudes trying to prove, bringing you news with nothing to lose. Mike, Nick, Tony, Wayne, Method Man, we bring the pain. Hey. See, I'ma confess it. We under the pressure. Nothing but Niners. Not